Once more, we are recording. This is the Delisted podcast. As always, I'm Connor, and with me is,
Augustine.
and we have a special guest today.
Hi, my name is Jessika. I run the channel Jessika. Happy to be here, guys.
And today we have two topics. The first is Paper Mario, and the second is the recent Charlie Kaufman film, I'm Thinking of Ending Things. So, real unity between our two topics today.
I think
So
it's a nice combination.
So let's jump right into Paper Mario. Jessika, why don't you tell us how you first encountered the Paper Mario games?
I think like any child, you see something that looks really cool on the shelf and you beg dad to buy it for you, buys it for you, and that's really it. I've only really played Paper Mario on the 64. That was the first one, and then obviously Thousand Year Door because graduated to GameCube. But I have not played any of the Paper Marios after that, and it's not that we didn't have a Wii. It was just, I don't know, it just didn't look appealing, so I just capped it off at Thousand Year Door.
I traded in Super Paper Mario in exchange with 3 other games in exchange for Smash Brothers Brawl, just because I didn't feel like keeping it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also didn't have $60 for Brawl.
Wait, wasn't Brawl 50 on release?
Oh yeah, I forgot that games used to be $10 cheaper.
No, Wii games were $50. They were never 60.
Yeah, N64 games were $50 too. It was Halo 2, I think, was the tipping point because they released that collector's edition for 60, and that was Microsoft testing the waters. Would people pay $60 for a big release?
And then with Xbox Live, it was will they pay for online? Turns out they will.
It used to be $50 for the year for online.
Now it's 60, I think, for Xbox
Well,
Live.
I guess it hasn't gone up that much, but still.
Yeah, it's still quite a bit. I mean, I play plenty of online games on PC, but I don't pay anything for that.
Right. Oh, but Paper Mario for me, I rented it from Blockbuster, which is how very 90s this story is, even though it takes place in 2001. And I loved it. And then I begged my dad to get it for me. And before that, I knew about it because I read about it in magazines and I looked up articles online. I was totally a nut for anything Mario, and just pictures of Goomboss I thought was the coolest thing ever.
You know what? I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for Paper Mario, and it is actually quite shocking that in the North America it released February 5th, 2001. That's really late in that
Oh, well,
lifespan.
they say that was the secret message behind L is Real 2401. They were just off by one day. It was saying that Luigi was going to be in Paper Mario on February 4th, 2001.
Wait, but the Japanese release was August 11, 2000.
Well, no, they were just telling us about the American release in this
I
secret
see.
message
I
of the
see.
game that wouldn't come out for another 5 years. I mean, try and keep up here.
Okay, Nintendo has it all together, right?
I mean, they were off by one day, but otherwise they had it pretty close together.
So they can plan that, but they can't plan a proper release for the Wii U, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to their secret evil stuff, like the Illuminati initiations, they're really good. And then when it comes to releasing enough amiibo to stores, they're not so hot.
I still think that was them trying to, have fake scarcity like they did with the fucking 3D All Stars that we talked about last week, because that's selling amazing.
I know, I got one.
I actually did not order yet. I
didn't find out. There's a pre-order bonus at some stores. It's not at Best Buy. Don't get it at Best Buy like me. Look for those bonuses. They give you stickers. And speaking of stickers, how about Paper Mario Sticker Star? The game that I think only I, out of the 3 of us, have played.
I tried a little bit. It is complete garbage. So, Jessika, by not playing anything past Thousand Year Door, you've actually done yourself a service.
Yeah, the games just get progressively worse, except Origami King, the most recent one. I liked it.
That one does look a bit more reminiscent of the style, but I guess a bit more modernized. Again, I don't know any story plots or anything, past Thousand Year Door, but just again, when that third one came out for the Wii, I was just like, this is not gonna cut it. I'm not about to.
Well, there is
spend
no
my money
story
on
really
that.
of Sticker Star. It's just the typical
Oh.
Bowser kidnaps the princess and Mario goes to find her. But then Color Splash has shades of Thousand Year Door. Like they go to a new town that's kind of like Rogueport, but not as interesting.
And most of the
Mhm.
new characters are toads.
Oh yeah, there was an interview, and Kensuke Tanabe, the drunken slacker, by his own admission, who ruined Paper Mario. I'm serious about this. There's a Wired interview where he's like, "Oh yeah, I was drinking too much, so Nintendo sent me to be the foreign correspondent." And he became the producer of the series. He worked on all of them, but he had more of a creative hand in Sticker Star Onward. He said in an interview that they're not allowed to make new characters in the Mario world anymore. So, like back in the first one, you had Goombella, and in the second one, you had Goombario and Admiral Bobbery, and then in the new one, you just have Bobby the Bob-omb.
But see, I don't understand that logic because you just keep the new characters in Paper Mario.
I don't know.
It's
They
a
didn't even bring
spin-off,
back.
right?
They
So,
didn't even bring
yeah,
back Paper Mario 1 characters for Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. So I think when you exist in a Paper Mario, that's it. You're closed off from every other section of.
in that one installment in the series.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
can we talk about how there was Goombario and then there was Goombella and they were like the same character?
I mean, they're Goombas,
Yeah,
so
I mean, that's the same thing with the the
Yeah.
Cooper first one, and then I can't even remember the names of the characters. My favorite one that I remember always is Vivian. That's my
Yeah,
favorite.
Vivian's everybody's favorite, and there's a lot of confusion about Vivian being possibly trans, possibly just male in Japan and female in America. It's not clear, and the people who did the translations are not trustworthy, but a lot of strange stuff going on with Vivian.
Interesting. I would have assumed that it would have been Watts. I think it's Watts in the first one because, like, in certain dialogue, they're for like in their first, like before they upgrade, it's I believed like he, and then after the upgrade, it's she. When you're reading through, like, it's been upgraded or whatever. Your partner's been upgraded. So that was a little confused on okay, is
Yeah, I mean,
female,
I would
male.
chalk that up to just a typo, but
It could be a
I
typo.
mean, who really knows? But yeah, the partners are that's the thing. There's not partners in the games after Thousand Year Door, and they're kind of one of the best parts of the game, don't you think?
No, I absolutely agree because Mario doesn't fucking talk, so we get dialogue, we get,
Except for when
we
he's actually dupeless, then he talks.
well, yeah, but it's a purple canvas,
Did you figure out on
right?
your own what you were supposed to do with the birds during the dupeless section?
Birds.
You had to hide and listen to the birds talking to hear Dupless's real.
Okay, I remember very clearly, me and my brother was watching me play, we're going through, like, you think you defeat it, right? And, like, I was like, "Did my game freeze?" Did my game like, I got really pissed off, like, really, "Did the game freeze?" So I hit restart, did the
Oh
battle all
no.
over again,
Oh no.
and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I just, like, button smashed, and then I realized, "Oh, that was dumb."
I mean, that's why you can't, like, try and do fourth wall breaking nonsense like that, people won't know. And then, okay, I fought my way through the whole forest as Duplis Mario, right? And I got to the
Mhm.
birds, and the birds were supposed to know his real name, and you were supposed to intuit from a line of dialogue in town that birds only talk when no
Yeah.
one's around. I didn't know that, so I just hung around, the birds didn't talk, I went back, almost died going through the forest to get back, and I was like, "Well, now what?" And then I had to look it up online, I looked it up on a FAQ, and I'm like, "I'm not going through the forest again. I already did it. I'm just gonna look up what his name is."
Oh my god. No, I went through the same process, but at the time, I'm like a super noob. I feel like, "Oh, I'm so like, I'm such a gamer." And then I like listen to you guys and other people. I'm like, "Wow, I'm really not. I'm just an average Joe over here."
And there's no
No,
real
but
prerequisites for being a gamer except for playing games.
yeah.
I know, but I feel like I don't want to make it like I don't know, but like as a female, I guess like it's just that stigma that
Augustine, you didn't
since
tell me that she was a female. I can't believe this.
Completely slipped my mind.
I'm mortified.
I don't know. I feel
It's a
like
boys club on this podcast, and we've only done one episode,
Yeah.
so you've ruined our
We're
streak.
breaking tradition here.
We broke our streak.
This is most unorthodox.
No, I just feel like as someone who's female, I always feel like I have to like prove myself within the gaming community. Not that, again, I'm heavily in the gaming community, but like anytime I talk with people who are gamers or whatever, which kind of sucks, because if we really do look at the gaming community, it is obviously highly dominated by men. So not to take this podcast to that level. I'm just, letting out my insecurities. I'm being vulnerable, guys. I'm sharing my thoughts.
She's vulnerable. Get her.
No, we can take it to that level because honestly, every study I see, all statistics are it's like almost 50% women play video games, and yet it's still like, oh, men will treat you terribly online. You have to prove
Apparently,
your
it's
credentials.
impossible to program female player characters. Just really difficult. That's what Ubisoft says.
Oh yeah, what game did they say that for?
One of the Assassin's Creeds.
Yeah,
I don't know which
I
one.
don't remember which one either. Was it Unity maybe? One of
That
those?
sounds right. And then Shigeru Miyamoto said the same thing about why you couldn't play as the princess in New Super Mario Brothers, that they would have to program her skirt and it would be difficult.
She could just wear something else.
Thank you.
Yeah,
She could just wear pants.
and she does in like the tennis games and the golf games. She's got shorts, so I don't see what the issue is. But I
That
think
would be an interesting game. Like if if you wanted to do like a quick cash grab, but still be somewhat, or not necessarily original, but just somewhat different, is to do Paper Mario, but from the Princess Peach perspective.
you do
That
play
would
as
be,
her for quite a few times in the game.
yeah, but not as like some. Not that the mini games aren't cute, but like it's just kind of like, okay, I just get more dialogue. I want to, not kill the Goombas, but be part of the battle.
I think I'm about to blow your mind because there was a game on the Nintendo DS from 2006, I think, maybe '05, called Super Princess Peach. And it was a
Mhm.
platformer, and you played as Peach, and you rescued Mario because he'd gotten kidnapped.
I've seen that game before, yeah, but
It's
that's like
it's not very good.
one out of how many? And then, yeah,
And
and then if you're gonna make it, then why does it have to be shit? Like,
also,
I mean,
Connor, you're leaving out the fact that the gameplay revolves around Princess Peach's emotions,
well, not specifically her emotion. She has a magical emotion controlling stick called the Vibe Scepter that allows
which
her to.
I understand the context, but they still made a game about her using her emotions
Can we
because
just
she's
talk
a
about
woman.
how at the end of the game it says maybe there's a vibe scepter in your parents' bedroom? It literally says that.
They really didn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
That
they
game was
were.
like, what, EE10 or something?
God. Well, but speaking of inappropriate things with the princess, can we talk about TEC, the computer inside the X-Nauts hideout in Thousand Year Door?
yeah, I mean, like, looking
He,
at it as a kid, when you're playing it as a kid, I don't even know how old I was, but I'm gonna just tell myself I was a child. Anyway, yeah, I just it just doesn't like phase you, It's, oh, the computer is like, super into Peach or
he was
whatever.
in love with her,
Whatever. No
but it
big
was
deal.
because he
Exactly.
saw her taking a shower.
Oh my god.
That's explicitly why. And then he keeps asking her to take a shower again in one of the chapters.
This isn't a rated E game
Uh,
too,
Yeah. Oh,
from
and then her getting
2004.
possessed by the Shadow Queen. And then later in Twilight Princess, Zelda gets possessed by Ganon for a little bit. So for a while, it was a strange recurring thing of the princess getting possessed by a bad guy and being a boss fight.
is the point of this podcast to make me like hate Nintendo by the end?
No, I think that's just like a natural reaction to
I mean,
Nintendo, like being an adult with a brain and actually
Mhm.
thinking about what they do, you end up hating them.
honestly, I thought the Shadow Queen was kind of cool. But Possessed Zelda was kind of terrible. Most of the bosses in Twilight Princess weren't great. Zant, what was up with him?
Mhm.
Or if you had a Wii, you probably had Twilight Princess. I'm just guessing.
No, like I said, there are some games that like I don't know, like I just didn't play it because one, lack of funds, and two, like my shift from like gaming all the time, again, money, but then also to like, like I just stopped playing for a while, not because I didn't want to, but How old is that game? What year is that game?
It was
That game
2006. It was a launch title for the Wii, and then it was also on the GameCube.
So 2006. So eighth grade
14.
high school. Yeah, so eighth grade high school, all I really cared about was playing my Sims 3 and, socializing.
I mean, Sims is cool. I had the
I
console version though, so it wasn't quite the same.
I did too. I had the Sims 3 on my GameCube,
Oh,
and
that's
I
cool.
really liked it actually.
Wait, you
Like,
mean like busting out or one of those?
no, it was just called Sims 3.
I
And
didn't
I
know that they
remember
did the
like
numbered Sims on console.
I didn't know that either until like later down the road when I was looking to buy Sims
No,
4.
the Sims 3 was on like 360.
Really?
Yeah, let me see, because busting out and Sims 2 did come out on console, but they removed a lot of elements from it.
Could you
So
woohoo with your Sims?
yeah, you can still woohoo.
Yeah.
And could you still kill them by taking the ladder out of the pool?
You could still burn them alive. You
Oh my
just couldn't
gosh.
have they just didn't keep the generational thing where you could have children and then the children will look like you.
Oh, have
They
you ever
took
heard
that
of
out.
I have no mouth and I must scream? Oh, sorry for that.
The video game or the
Well,
short
the video
story
game
or
and the
both?
short story, both of them,
Yeah,
because
what
they both have the same premise of that
mhm.
computer just tormenting all of those people trapped in the compound, and that's what The Sims is, really.
Yeah, essentially.
Well, depending on how you play it. Maybe you
I
were
was
nice
gonna
to your
say, like,
maybe you were
you
nice to your Sims.
you
No,
sound
how
like
did
my
you
boyfriend, he's like, "You don't kill your Sims?" I'm like, "No, I just
Oh, I
literally
don't I
just wanna
don't
pretend to be somebody else for the day. Is that a
I don't kill
problem?"
them. I just inconvenience them.
just if they end up dying in my playthrough, it's fine,
Yeah.
is the way
I'm
I
not
look
going
at
to
it.
Oh,
more in The Sims. You know
Do
what
you
I
think
really
do you
liked?
think that we wait, go ahead and then I'll say what I'm saying.
Creatures. It was kind of the same concept of The Sims, but it was a side scroller, and instead of people, it was like these cute little space alien creatures.
mhm.
It was a fun game.
Alright, so I was going to say, do you think that if that theory about our reality being a computer simulation is true, that's how everybody views us as we're just Sims?
Oh, absolutely, I
So,
wouldn't
do our
think
words
that's
sound like
it.
Simlish to them?
I'm assuming so.
Mhm. Probably. I mean, whoever's controlling me, can you please just, like, hurry up some of my skills? Like, just just
No,
leave me at
they're doing
home.
a run to keep everybody low level, except for all the
Just
shitty people. They start off rich, so
I
they
mean,
start off with the cheat codes already in
they
place.
start off with like $1 billion, a small loan
Right.
of 1,000,000.
oh my god, we're getting political on here.
Oh my
Okay, back
goodness.
to Paper Mario.
Oh,
Back to
Paper
Paper
Mario.
Mario.
So, how about Glitzville? Wasn't that fun? You remember when you were a wrestler for a little bit?
Oh my god, I think honestly that was, like, one of my favorite ones. Like, the whole story plot, like, the mini story plot in there and just being able to, like, fight different types of, like,
Right.
people. That was once probably was my
Oh,
favorite, like,
for
level,
the
I guess.
for the listeners, we should probably explain a little bit about what Glitzville is. It's like the Mario World version of Las Vegas, and the plot of the game is you're looking for these 7 stars, and one of them is on the championship belt for the champion wrestler of Glitzville. So as Mario, you have to enter the wrestling federation and defeat the champion Rockhawk. Rockhawk?
Yeah,
Rockhawk.
it's Rock Hawk.
Rockhawk. Rockhawk. And you have to defeat him so that you can get the championship belt and get one of the stars that you need.
It's just so great, like, the aesthetic, like, everything, I love it. It's great. It
It's such a departure from like any Mario location we've really seen before, and so is Rogueport for that matter. The village from the beginning of the game.
Mhm.
There's a gallows,
Absolutely.
like just a hangman's noose up there.
Right, it's very, I don't know, piratey, I guess,
Yeah,
would that be a correct word?
that
But
sounds
there's
correct
more
to me.
pirates
Piratical.
piratical, but the pirates are, like, on the island too, like, there's, like it's an actual, like, like, Cor when you're fighting Cortez, like, he's a pirate.
It's just the
But no,
mafia.
yeah, that one, that was kinda like, "Okay." Sure.
Don Pianta, and he's a Pianta from Mario Sunshine from Delfino Isle.
See, my brother got really into Mario Sunshine. That was like the game that he would play because the majority of my gameplay, at least for 64 and GameCube, was when we would go to our father's house. So it would just be me and my brother. I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters, but stepsister and half brother, half sister. So I have a very blended family.
Mm-hmm.
But when we would go over to my dad's house, it would just be me and my brother. And so like I would just hog Paper Mario, and then he would like hog Mario Sunshine. Not that he didn't play Paper Mario, but it was just
Wait, so were you hogging the N64 and he was hogging the GameCube, or how could you simultaneously hog games?
Oh, no, you can't. We have one TV, but all the consoles are connected for that one TV. So just watching the other person play. Whoever woke up first got the TV first.
Oh, so the villains of Thousand Year Door are the X-Nauts, and they're kind of these evil sci-fi guys that live on the moon, and they're trying to open the Thousand Year Door to reawaken a demon called the Shadow Queen, who they all worship. And they need Princess Peach to do it, because she's going to be the vessel for the Shadow Queen. Just adding some background on what's going on in the game for the people listening.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was like a really good twist. I guess twist. Would it be twist? Who knows? A twist to make Princess Peach like the person you have to defeat. I just thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I like the Shadow Queen, and I love Peach's like evil outfit. It's just like a dark purple version of her dress. It's like goth Peach for a little bit.
I'm for goth Peach.
Like 100%. When Bowsette was a thing. Do you remember Bowsette on like social media and stuff?
I think so.
It was the mushroom that turned Toadette into a copy of Peach. Someone did a comic where Bowser got it, and he turned into like this punk rock version of Peach that wore black. And I saw that, and I'm like, that's kind of just the Shadow Queen, but like a more inappropriate version of the Shadow Queen.
I see.
And with horns.
And with horns, yes.
Don't forget the horns.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like goth Peach, that's Shadow Queen, and then punk rock Peach is Bowsette, and then just there's regular Peach.
I'm for it. I'm looking at a picture right now. I'm for it.
Yeah. I mean, Bowsette's cool, but Shadow Queen was there first. And then also, Peach is only a princess. Shadow Queen is a queen. So, I mean, she went up in the world.
She does have a pretty rad outfit.
We've only seen the Mushroom King like once ever, and it was like in a picture in the strategy guide to the first Mario Brothers. And yet she is still not, I guess, been coronated. Is that the word?
Yeah, that would be correct. Coronated to queen.
Let's be real. The Mushroom King is dead, right? Like, nobody's seen him for like 30, 35 years now. Because it's just been the anniversary of the first game.
So if they're mushroom people, when they die, does that mean they decay and eat themselves?
I don't think so, because they would eat plants and they would eat animals and whatnot. They wouldn't. I don't think mushrooms eat other mushrooms. Like, they eat plants, and mushrooms are fungi.
But they were also living beings at the time.
That's true.
Hard to tell.
And it feed itself is what you guys are getting at.
Yeah, in the movie, Lance Henriksen is the Mushroom King, and we actually do see him alive and well, sort of. I don't know.
The Super Mario.
Yeah, the Super Mario Brothers
Mario
movie
and
from
Luigi Mario.
1993. Yeah.
With
But that's the thing, is Daisy is the princess from that version of the Mushroom Kingdom, even though in the games she's actually from a different kingdom called Sarasa Land. So the question is, I was
listening to the last podcast you guys are talking about. I didn't like. I had seen like Daisy be like slightly darker, and now has gradually lightened up. Like I just didn't even like connect those dots. Like, oh shit, that's totally right. You know,
like, she was never all that dark, but she was significantly more tan. But in these, they made these stickers for Line. Line is like a messaging app in Japan. With the two princesses are next to each other taking a selfie, and she is noticeably darker than Peach. I sent that to you, Augustine.
Yeah, it's in our Discord chat. If you want to look at it, Jessica, just go through
Or
the
is it in the
chat a
I
little
think I
bit.
sent it in the regular chat. The
It's in
GIF
the
of them
yeah, in
taking
the
the selfie.
text chat on the Discord server.
Oh,
But
okay.
here's a bit of trivia that I found. So
Yeah, I
apparently,
see it.
Nintendo was going to be sued by the Morgan Creek Productions company
Oh my god, I don't wanna talk about them at all because I actually
over.
have professional connections to those people.
Okay, but it had to do with the film True Romance, and it was dropped because it turns out that Nintendo, the advertising agency they worked with, did have licensing for the song they were suing over. Isn't that amazing though that the lawsuit happened in 2008?
I'm sorry, what happened? They used a song in a commercial that was from the movie True Romance?
Yes. And they were being sued over it 4 years after the release of the game.
Oh my gosh. Wait, which game had the song in it? Thousand Year
It was
Door?
no, it was for a commercial for Thousand Year Door.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
'Cause, man, I can't get into it because, I'd get in trouble, but I have had dealings with Morgan Creek at my job and,
Mhm.
no, I'm not gonna say anything about it.
You don't have to.
Um,
I'm just saying what's on Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the one saying it. I don't work for them, so screw it. No comment on your part. No
Yeah, no
comment.
no comment at all.
No
None.
comments.
Yeah,
Other than you know about them.
I am aware of them. They're behind the Ace Ventura movies. They did Nightbreed back in the '80s. That was kinda like a cool horror film. What song did they
I'm
use in the
just
commercial?
Let me go back.
Well, I don't know if you're a movie type of person, Jessica, but like Quentin Tarantino?
Yes, I do. I don't know all of his movies.
Oh, well, True
Don't
Romance, it was one that he
don't get on
wrote.
me about it.
I'm
I
not gonna
actually have
get
not
on you
seen I
about
have
it.
not seen True
No, I
Romance.
know, like, it's just this back and forth,
Oh,
you know? My
well,
Quentin Tarantino, like, I only got introduced to him via Kill Bill 1
uh,
and 2. Those probably,
that's the
like,
first
up
one of his
there.
movies I saw too, like, that came out when I was, like, 13, so I saw those.
Okay, so
I
the
didn't see it in theaters. It was just, like, my dad and my brother saw it in theaters, and then they bought the DVD for it, and then I
Oh.
watched it, and I was like, "Why didn't I get to go to
My
the
mom
movies?"
took
I'm
me to
kinda
see the
sour
second
about it.
one, actually, like, 'cause she wanted to see it, and it was
Mhm.
like I wasn't allowed to see R-rated movies at the time, so I was just psyched, but I hadn't seen the first one, so I was not in the loop.
well, to be fair, the beginning of that movie does kinda, like, get you up to speed, but also you're watching a revenge quest halfway when it's already done, you know? It's a bit yeah, I can see why you'd be like, "Eh."
I mean, I
But
had a good time.
as for the song, it's called "You're So Cool,"
Oh my god, I remember that, from the
and it
but
was used in the commercial, but it was used legally.
and they sued, they didn't even check before they sued.
They just tried doing it, and then it was dropped 6 days later.
Oh god, there's a whole history with Nintendo and frivolous lawsuits, I don't know if we wanna get into it.
I
Um,
didn't even know
hmm,
you could sue somebody for it's been 4 years, the commercial no longer plays. That's kind of ridiculous, but okay.
It is a little mysterious. I think, they just didn't get around to it.
yeah, or it just took that long. Who knows? Yeah, maybe they didn't find out about it until 4 years later.
But the reason I brought up Quentin Tarantino, I feel like this is gonna be confusing to the listener if I don't close the loop here. He wrote that movie. He wrote True Romance. He did not direct it. It's
Mm.
just a movie he wrote the script for.
Can I ask if there's a feet scene in that too?
Not that I remember, but it's been a long time since I saw it. I feel like
I
if he's not the director, he doesn't get final say in that sort of thing.
Yeah, I have, and also, I didn't he write that before? Was it before he became famous from Reservoir
Yeah,
Dogs
he
and Pulp
sold
Fiction?
2 scripts before Reservoir Dogs, but then the movies came out after, and it was that, True Romance, and Natural Born Killers. He wrote both of them, but he didn't direct them.
That's interesting. I just like to make pot shots for the feet thing. It's
I
a
know,
little
it's
weird.
really weird, especially in Death Proof, where, oh my god, this woman gets her foot cut off in a car accident, and it just, like, pans over to the foot lying by the side of the road, like, so you don't even care if it's attached to a woman, you just want a foot.
He just wants, but yeah, but also wasn't it covered in blood at that point?
It was. So he
Because it
wants
was
a foot and
dismembered?
he wants violence. Have you seen Monty Python? How the giant foot like comes down at the beginning of that show?
Yeah, what about it?
That was probably Quentin Tarantino's, like, he watched that like people watch pornography. He was like, "Oh,
No, but isn't he more into, like, women's feet?
we don't know whose foot
Mm.
that was.
That's
We've never
true.
seen it could be a woman." Like, honestly, like, I don't think there's a lot of sexual dimorphism between feet unless, like, we're talking painted toenails or something.
I'm not
Well,
sure.
they're like in Kill Bill, it's again one of my favorite movies. It's a
Wiggle
whole
your
ass scene
big
with
toe.
her moving her fucking
Wiggle your big
toe.
toe.
I'm just like looking, like before knowing he had like a foot thing, I was just like, oh wow, this is like that's a pretty cool scene. Like trying to will your foot, but then like after the fact, like oh that's kind of creepy, but
This was
okay.
like a weird porn thing for him.
Yeah, well, like Pulp Fiction, there's a whole conversation at the beginning about whether a foot rub is sexual or not between Samuel L. Jackson and
Oh,
John Travolta.
yes, about the story about the guy who got thrown out a
Yeah,
window or something
yeah,
by
because he
Marcellus
rubbed
Wallace.
Marcellus Wallace's wife's feet,
Mhm.
and it's like, would you let a man rub your feet? And it's like now, knowing now, what we do, going back and looking at that, it's like, huh.
I mean, if they were into each other, why not
I mean
rub each other's
I
feet?
mean, the conversation, it makes sense in context, even
Mhm.
with just within the movie because, it's the kinda thing they'd probably talk about, like, these 2 characters. But you're
Mm.
right, it does knowing about Quentin Tarantino's foot fetish, it does kinda make you think like, is there more to this? Is
Hmm.
there more to this?"
Oh, this isn't his foot fetish, but have you seen Inglorious Bastards?
I actually have seen that movie.
Do you
Yes.
Mhm.
remember when the bad guy, Hans Landa is his name, strangles that woman like for a really long time near the end of the movie?
Oh, yes, and it was the
Mhm.
the heel, right? Like,
Yeah.
she, had it injured or something, right? It was
Yeah,
the cover
but
story.
the actual strangling, that
Mhm.
was
Yeah,
Quentin
that was
Tarantino.
yep.
He put on the uniform and then you only see the hands because he's like, I have to do the strangling. It's very important for my vision.
Nah, there's, like, a weird creepy sex thing going on. Also, he was buddies with the Weinsteins. I know he, like,
Yeah,
distanced
like all
himself,
his movies
but
were produced by them like at the
yeah, by
beginning.
the Weinstein Company.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
getting back to Paper Mario.
that's how Paper Mario and, Harvey Weinstein have a connection.
Yeah, it's like a 6 degree of separation thing.
Yeah, because, True Romance song played in a commercial for Thousand Year Door, and True Romance was written by Quentin Tarantino, who has an association with Harvey Weinstein.
I mean, that's not even
All
Or
6 degrees, that's like 4. Like, we're really close.
I was
yeah,
gonna say all we're missing is Kevin Bacon with the 6 degree knots.
yeah,
Oh, but
we
man.
really are just I mean, we could probably find Kevin Bacon somehow involved in this.
I'm
I'm sure,
dead
but
ass serious.
yeah.
There was a at my school right now because I'm in grad school right now, and I got an email sent. Oh, a lecture on the Kevin Bacon 6 degree. I was like, is someone really gonna do a Zoom on
Wait, it
the
was an
6 degree?
academic discussion about it?
Yes.
Well, I mean, okay, it's just kinda weird weird because that was so long ago. I would've understood at the time,
Mhm.
but kinda weird to bring it up now.
I mean, it's not like Kevin Bacon's dead. I mean, he's
Yeah, he's still alive, but
Right, he's still alive. But I don't know, I just thought I just reminded me of that, I just thought that was
see,
funny.
here's a word to the wise. Your best bet in that game, if you need to link Kevin Bacon to anything, is that he was in Animal House because then you can connect him to Saturday Night Live via that. And like everybody's been on Saturday Night Live.
Very true.
Yeah.
and then you could probably connect Saturday Night Live to The Simpsons, and everybody's been on The Simpsons at
Yeah.
this point.
I
Yeah.
think Kevin Bacon's been on there.
Oh,
So that might
yeah,
be our
yeah.
go-to. It's now like 1 degree of separation.
You're all connected by a mostly unfunny show. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but can we talk for a minute about turn-based battles in Paper Mario?
Yes.
They are really
Okay.
good.
Yep, it is a traditional RPG. When you run into an enemy in the overworld, you're taken to a little stage, which is a battle screen. You have options, and you have to use timed button presses to make your hits do more damage. And you can also do special attacks with your flower points. And then your partners all have special moves and attacks. Right?
Yes, absolutely, that
And
is correct.
every time you defeat a bad guy, you get star points, which are that game's version of experience. And every time you get enough, you go up a level, and you get to choose which stats go up, and you kind of have to build your stats as you go along.
And if you like Mario and Luigi, you'll probably like Paper Mario.
Yeah. Although honestly, I don't like Mario and Luigi, and I love Paper Mario. I feel like Mario and Luigi gets a little too into the button presses. It's like you're playing DDR for 20 minutes every time you want to do an attack.
Yeah, that's understandable. It does use them a little bit more than I'd like, but I mean, it's the appeal for a lot of people.
Right. But Jessica, for your benefit, Thousand Year Door was the very last Paper Mario game to have that battle system. Super Paper Mario was just real time. You jumped on enemies like in a regular Mario game. And then Sticker
Okay.
Star went like full madman and came up with this system where you still, when you touched an enemy, you went into a turn based battle. But now you had
Mhm.
no attacks. You had an inventory that consisted of stickers, and each sticker was a single use item that was an attack. So, like jump, if you wanted to jump on an enemy twice, you had to have 2 jump stickers in your inventory. You could only use each one once. And when you ran out of stickers, you had no moves. So you had to bring hundreds of stickers with you all the time because you needed one sticker for every move that Mario did.
Why?
I don't know
What
because
the
Kensuke Tanabe is a crazy person, and he decided that that was better than traditional turn-based battle with experience points.
I would have preferred had he just decided on making it a card game. It
Well,
would have been better.
he did change the stickers into cards for the next game, but my goodness, it was still the exact same system, except instead of stickers, it was cards. And before you could use a card, you had to touch it on the touchscreen to add paint. And however much paint you added to the card made it more or less powerful, and then you would flick it onto the TV. And I think it was Arlo on YouTube did like a calculation, and it took about like a minute and a half to jump on one enemy once in the game because of how many cards you had to go through, and you had to power up the card and flick the card. And this was like one attack in a turn-based battle. Took a minute and a half.
That doesn't even sound fun. That
It's
just
not
sounds
fun.
And now
really
And I
let
not.
me
haven't
let
gotten.
me let me
Mhm.
tell you how many people enjoyed this fun game by paying for it. Guess how much it sold?
Which one, Color Splash or Sticker Star?
Sticker Star.
Um, 30 million. No,
Okay,
that's too
that's
high.
not
That's
even a
too high.
guess. That's not even a guess.
2 million.
Yeah, well, almost 2 million by March 31st,
But
2013.
that's more because of the Paper Mario name than because of the game itself.
And it was people. I'm assuming a lot of people thought it was a return to the turn-based
Yeah,
Paper
because
Mario after Super Paper
I did.
Mario.
I saw
Mhm.
turn-based battles in the previews, and I was like, "Wow,
And
it's not
then
gonna be like Paper
and then
Mario."
you actually learned how it worked and you're like, "Oh no."
Well, the thing is, I bought a 3DS because I wanted to play another Paper Mario game. That's how much I loved them, and then that game was just
Mhm.
nothing. Luckily, there were other cool games on the 3DS,
There are many cool games on 3DS.
but
Plus you can play your DS games.
I didn't even get to the worst part, Jessica. When you finish a battle in Sticker Star and Color Splash, you do not get any experience points. There are no levels. You earn nothing by battling, and you use up your single-use cards. So getting into a battle just eats through your inventory, and there's no benefit.
Again, why? I don't understand how such a game could have got
They
approved.
were
That
worried that leveling would be like too confusing for kids or something. I don't know. They thought that people would want
How?
to do it. I don't know. It's been in games since I want to say the first game that had levels was Dragon Quest, but it probably goes back even further.
It was definitely like one of the first big Japanese RPGs to have experience points.
Like every child in Japan has played Dragon Quest, like some version.
Mhm. Mhm.
So like why do they think that people can't handle levels and experience? I don't know. And even Origami King does not have any levels or experience.
That's
Okay.
odd. That's unfortunate. Like,
Yeah.
honestly,
The battles are
it's
more
a
like a puzzle. Like you have to turn the characters around to line them up, but you do have
Mhm.
infinite attacks sort of. Your weapons wear out just like in I think Zelda Breath of the Wild was the first game where your weapons wear out that Nintendo made, and now they're obsessed with it. Like
Okay,
even in
Connor.
Animal Crossing. Yep.
So wizardry is extremely popular in Japan, right?
Mhm.
And that game released in 1981,
Oh, so
5 years before Dragon Quest.
leveling's been around even longer. And yet
Yeah,
they still think that we can't handle it in Paper Mario.
so who is the game for?
They
Like,
say
one,
it's
apparently.
for casuals and core gamers, according to Kensuke Tanabe. And the thing is, at the same time that he gutted the gameplay, he also got rid of any sort of story for Sticker Star. So it has no story, and the gameplay is terrible.
I mean, that's kind of the whole. I think that's why
It
the
was
whole
called
reason,
Mario
like a lot
Story.
of the whole reason why people, and this is my opinion, and I'm sure you guys might agree, the whole reason Paper Mario I felt like was super successful because you had that turn base, but on top of that too, there was some story, plot, and dialogue, and it was different, and it was like more of the, I guess, world building of the Mushroom Kingdom in a sense. So, I mean, that's why I liked it. Aesthetically, it was cool. We get more dialogue, we get more characters, we get, you get to battle I was like, oh, it's like Pokemon, but for Mario. It's pretty cool. So, I don't know.
I mean,
That's
that's
why I
another
really
thing.
liked it.
Pokemon, kids love Pokemon, and that's a turn-based game that it even has like random encounters where you can't see the monsters on the overworld, which like I don't think any other
Mhm.
series still does that except Pokemon, and yet kids love it, you know?
Exactly. It's like again, like was everybody drunk when they just said, "Okay, this is a storyboard. We're just gonna throw darts,
I mean,
call it a day, send
not
it out."
And then
not everyone
Zink
was drunk, but Kensuke Tanabe almost
was
definitely
definitely
was
drunk
because he says
on a
in
lot
Wired
of
that he drinks
sake.
too much. Like,
No, but just think, like, one of their best-selling games that Nintendo's ever made is Breath of the Wild, right?
mhm.
And that game is definitely, like, not a shallow game, I would say.
But it doesn't have levels really. You do
No,
get
but you have a
stronger,
bunch
but
of other things that are more complex to understand, I assume, for children than just like, "Ooh, you get enough points, you become stronger."
like even Double Dragon on the NES had experience points and leveling, and like that was a brawling game.
I mean, if their point was to get like even like younger people involved in the gaming, you still could have made a better game just based off of what you guys are saying. Like, it just sounds confusing out for an adult. I would feel like it'd just be even more confusing for a kid to try
I
and figure
know.
that
Right.
out.
And the thing is, the story in Origami King, because there's a story back again for that one, is kind of fun. The
Mhm,
characters are pretty fun. They're not as fun as Thousand Year Door, but like when you get into an
mhm.
actual battle, it's not great. Like the actual
Aw,
gameplay part of the game is the worst part of the game.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but most of it is like solving like puzzles where you have to find items and like it's more like
Mhm,
I don't know, Space Quest or King's Quest than it is like an RPG. But then it still makes you do these stupid turn-based battles. Like honestly, if Origami
mhm.
King had real-time battles the way Super Paper Mario did and everything else had been the same, I think it would have been a much better game.
Duly noted. I mean, because like it looks a bit more. Again, I haven't played it, but just seeing some gameplay, it looks more, I guess, 3D, but still like with the paper,
Yeah. They
aesthetic.
really lean heavily into the paper. Like the bosses are
Mhm.
tape and scissors and a whole like just these office supplies, like not with even
Mhm.
angry eyes or anything. And you have to fight them. And it's like the fact that it had the paper aesthetic was like kind of cool, but that wasn't what the game was about, you know?
Right.
But now they're like, no, we're just a bunch of paper themed stuff.
Yeah,
It
it's
took it
pretty
too literal.
cringe.
It took it took it
Yeah,
too
the
literal.
Like,
tagline for the N64 Paper Mario was "Thinner Mario, a bigger adventure," something along
ooh,
those lines.
that's fun.
And but yeah, you're right. As the series went on, they started introducing like the whole paper thing, and I'm like, this ain't Yoshi's like yarn world or whatever.
I love
Like,
just making their characters out of different arts and crafts materials. Like
which
Kirby
is
was
fine,
clay in one game,
but like
and
you said, Paper Mario wasn't really that.
no, it wasn't. And you know, in Japan, it was called Mario Story because it was supposed to look like a storybook, and it was about a story.
Ah,
And then
okay.
apparently, after Super Paper Mario, there was a Club Nintendo survey. And this is every interview that Kensuke Tanabe has been in when he tries to explain why there's not stories in the games, really.
Mhm.
He says it's because there was a survey and people said they didn't like the story in Super Paper Mario. And it's like, who said that in the survey? And why are they going off a like 15-year-old survey or 13-year-old survey to determine how they're going to, make their games instead of just actually just making good games?
And how many people even took the survey? I want to know
I
how many
didn't.
people participated.
I'm pretty sure I was in Club Nintendo at the time. I don't remember any survey.
I
Maybe
know,
it's
now it's, like, more accessible to send out that information. I mean, you get people who play Sims, and get sent out surveys on, like, what should be the next, expansion pack or whatever, but Sims has its own
And do they
fucking
listen though when you fill those out?
problems. I'm sorry?
Do they listen to the surveys when they make new stuff?
I don't take the surveys because, like, I'm just lazy, but hearing other people, other YouTubers that I watch and they talk about Sims, mostly just, like, hammering at Sims for, also doing kind of the same shenanigans. I guess in Sims 3, like, the expansion packs or whatever, you get more, but now with the Sims 4, they've separated, parts, whether it's, like what used to be an all-in-one expansion pack, now they've separated into like 3 separate ones. So it's like basically them just trying to make more
Well, I mean,
money.
it's
Like,
it's EA, right?
yeah, it's EA.
That doesn't surprise anybody. They're the most cash grabbingest company.
Yeah,
Do you
they're up
remember
there.
when they made SimCity online only, and then their servers couldn't handle it, so now you can't play SimCity?
That's why everybody plays cities skylines now, because SimCity is just straight up dead.
And I
Uh,
heard a fun story about where SimCity's like origin point was. It was that Will Wright was working on a game called The Raid on Bungling Bay, which is about like flying in and bombing an enemy outpost. And he said he was having more fun designing all the buildings in the outpost than he was like playing the test builds of the game.
I
that
mean, some
sounds about
people
right.
enjoy Sims in general just to build stuff. I mean, there's different types of simmers, You guys sound like
Simmers.
you want a god complex sim play.
Yeah.
Hey, I love Animal Crossing, and I don't actually kill anybody in that.
In the Super Nintendo version of SimCity, you could summon Bowser, King Koopa, to come and just wreck up the town.
That's hilariously awesome.
Yeah. They also made a cartoon character version of Will Wright to be like your advisor. He was called like Mr. Wright. You remember when he made Spore like a couple years ago?
That massive failure of a game.
Yeah, I mean, like he had a big hit with SimCity, and then The Sims, and then like he should have stopped.
Or just release Spore, but not dumbed down.
Or maybe don't make ridiculous promises about your game. You'll be able to start from a single-celled organism and build an entire literal universe, and then
Yeah.
come out with
It's
basically the character creation part
it's
of
the
other
same
games.
mistake that No Man's Skies developers made
Yeah,
when
well,
they overpromised. Like the game's good now. It is genuinely good. They even added like horror elements to it.
that's cool.
But honestly, like they really overpromised. They should have looked at stuff like Spore or like the Fable games and been like, you know what? Let's
Oh,
just
but the
not.
Fable games promised so much that you could
Didn't
cut a blade of
Peter
grass.
Molyneux say something like you'll be able to plant a tree and then see it years later and it's,
Yeah, an acorn.
yeah, it's a grown
And you could not do that. And
tree.
also, he apparently just said in an interview there was two-player mode when there wasn't, and he had never talked to anybody on the dev team about it.
Dude, that guy just talks. Like when he did his cell phone game where you just click on like blocks, it was called like Cube or some shit. I don't remember exactly. You were supposed to win something if you were like the last player to click because it was like a massively multiplayer
What
game.
did what did you win?
Well, he wouldn't say. He just said it would be something amazing. And then the person that one person actually won, he won a prize and it was supposedly like a huge cash prize, right? And he never received it.
Oh. Oh, Will. I mean,
No,
Peter.
Peter Molyneux.
Oh,
Yeah.
Peter. Where are those like Rockstar game designers these days? There's like Suda51. Um,
I
John
think they're
Romero's
all in the
gone.
indie scene.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, Kensuke Tanabe, the guy behind the Paper Mario being terrible, he actually got his start doing Super Mario Brothers 2. So he's a long hauler.
Also, I guess everybody working in video games now is just sexually harassing everybody.
What's going on?
Like with Ubisoft, with
Oh, and Rockstar.
yeah, with like the creative director who like was cheating on his wife. So and he did some other things, so he got fired from Ubisoft. And then Ubisoft also was covering for other people. And then they reappropriated like Black Lives Matter symbolism for a game where
Ugh.
you're basically fighting a terrorist group that looks like BLM.
It sounds like they don't be soft at all. It sounds like they be hard.
It sounds like they'd be stupid more like to
You be
me
stupid.
because and this is
Simper
after they
Ludicore.
donated like $100,000 or something to Black Lives Matter. And then
So
they come out
performative.
and and then they're just performative. And then they're like, we're gonna release this cell phone game where Black Lives Matter are the villains. But we don't make political games, okay? Okay, we don't make political
Oh my god, I
games.
love that new thing that everybody says they don't make political games.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's not political potentially? Scott Pilgrim.
Oh my god, I am so jazzed for
That's
Scott
like the
Pilgrim.
one thing I'm buying from Ubisoft
Are
this
you
year.
familiar with the story behind this, Jessica?
I've seen the movie.
Oh, okay. So when the movie came out, they made a game, right? And then
Mhm.
something went wrong with the rights licensing issues, and the game got taken off the internet. You can't buy it anymore. And they just announced that they're finally bringing it back. They've settled the rights issues or whatever, and it's getting re-released.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a beat 'em up game. It's kind of because like the movie and the comic were sort of inspired by games like River City Ransom and Crash and the Boys, Clash of Demon Head, because they
Mhm.
even use those names in the comic and the movie. Like that's what's her name? Envy Adams' band is called the Clash of Demon Head.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's sort of like a take on that sort of game, but with kind of nicer looking graphics. There's a guy named Paul Robertson. He's kind of a big deal sprite artist. Did the characters for that game. The animations are really nice, and there's a lot of special moves. It's just I've never played it, but I want to so badly.
Yeah, especially after your love for River City Girls,
Oh my god, River City
which
Girls
is
is
like the
amazing.
successor to Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, I mean it's officially the successor to River City Ransom, but since Scott Pilgrim kind of built off that game, and that's
And
another game
it's
that had
yeah.
levels and experience points in it, unlike Paper Mario Sticker Star.
Yeah, just like it just sounds bad. Like
It
I don't know
is.
how people would just like not. But in your guys' last podcast, you're talking about how like Nintendo's pretty good at selling nostalgia, and I can probably definitely most definitely agree with that sentiment.
But how do you do 3 Paper Mario games that aren't
And
really Paper
not
Mario?
for your
Like, Super
Mario.
Paper
See, like
Mario
Well, I mean
is
4 if you
good.
count Super Paper Mario.
Well, no. See, well, I actually was only saying Super Paper Mario, Sticker Star, and Color Splash because Origami King seems to have a much better reception.
Oh yeah, I liked it, but it's not
It's
my
still not
favorite.
what you really wanted.
I just
But
want Thousand Year
what I'm
Door like on
saying
Switch.
is Super Paper Mario is definitely not a Paper Mario game, like gameplay
mhm.
wise. It's still good. It's just not Paper Mario. And then you get to Sticker Star and Color Splash, and like you said, there's no experience in an RPG, and they didn't do anything to compensate for that. So now there's no point to combat. Not
Um,
really.
there's one that I think we should bring up that people often miss on these lists, and that's Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, which is just a
Oh
Mario and
yes,
Luigi
the
game.
crossover. Hmm.
Yeah, and it came out like shortly after Sticker Star, so like we hadn't seen Paper Mario for years, and then suddenly there were two Paper Marios,
Yeah,
neither one
but
of
Paper
which
Jam
was
was the Sticker Star Paper Mario,
Sticker Star
basically.
of Mario and Luigi. You mean?
Yeah,
Like I
it
didn't
was
even
bad.
finish it. All the other Paper Mario games I finished. Oh no, actually no Color Splash. I also didn't finish. Never mind.
You didn't miss much.
And it's like Paper Jam, I just gave up because during what the second big cardboard fight, I was like, this is boring and dumb.
I think it would be pretty cool if they came out with Paper Mario, but Paper Luigi, because you know how like in not the first one,
In Thousand Year Door,
but
his
the
adventures.
Thousand Year Door, he goes on his own adventures, and I think that would be pretty fun to look at that and look
I
at
would love
more
that
different
game.
worlds because like the characters that like his like partners that he's surrounding himself with are different than the partners that you have. So I think that would be pretty cool game for them to
Eh,
make.
His
Yep.
Please give
partners.
me
Just
the
do that.
free game,
Just do
Nintendo.
Super
do
Paper
that.
Luigi or something
Yeah, his
and have that
partners don't
redeem the
seem to like
series.
him though.
See,
His
but that's a fun
partners.
dynamic, though. You can
Yeah.
make that fun.
Exactly.
I was having a good time every time he would tell a story, and then you could buy the books in the shop that, like, told Luigi's story.
Mhm.
And
I just thought like Thousand Year Door is my favorite because it made Paper Mario, like it took it and made it better, which
oh, yeah.
usually I feel like for sequels it's like
That was like
I think it depends on the game. It's either it's not as great as the first one, or
'cause
it takes it and makes it like, yes, this is
Nintendo was
this.
really, like, hitting it with sequels then, because Melee had come out not long before.
Yes, I had Melee. We had Thousand Year Door and Melee, that and then Mario Sunshine, and of course Sims 3. And that would be like those are the 4 games we had, like, for majority of a GameCube. Just
I mean, those were
buttons
all good
mashing.
games.
They are all good.
Sunshine was not as well received as those other ones, though, or I don't know how Sims 3 was received, but Sunshine, it was kind of the
Mhm,
black sheep of the Mario series until recently, when, like,
mhm.
nostalgia has finally come around for it.
I think so, yeah, but even in, like, isn't I think it's one of the Smash Brothers, you get to use the water gun or whatever
Yeah,
as a
that was
weapon, right?
Brawl Onward. They took away Mario's tornado move, which was my favorite move, and replaced it with
Mhm.
Flood, and it's like, "Come on. I want the tornado." Luigi can still do it, but it's not as good.
Yeah.
His beat down attack. But, like, in a lot of video game series, the second one is the one that people consider to be the best, like Paper Mario, and then,
Mhm.
like, Streets of Rage 2 and Street Fighter 2, people say that those are the best ones. And then Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It's just the second one in a lot of series is considered to be the best one.
Yeah, I can agree. Like, I feel like not Nintendo related, but one of my like favorite like a sequel is KOTOR. So I like KOTOR 2 better than KOTOR
I
1.
never made it all the way through KOTOR. I did make it through Jade Empire, which was also BioWare, but of course that's not Star Wars. Oh, for the listeners, Knights of the Old Republic. Star
I know I
Wars
have
Knights of
to
the Old
remind
Republic.
myself. Some people are like, "What? What is that?"
Yep, and it had, like, this weird semi-turn-based, semi-real-time battle system. I never quite wrapped my head around it, but basically you could, like, pause at any time. What was going on there, I think?
Um, I believe the battling dynamic, which is actually pretty cool if you think about it. I guess they were basing it off of have you played Dungeons& and Dragons?
Yeah, it was like Dungeons& and Dragons
It was
Edition
like
2, right?
Dungeons& and Dragons, because if you look at, like,
Something like that.
I guess, like, the moves or whatever, and it tells you about the rolls, like, "Oh, you get a +3 or +2 or whatever with this chance," or whatever, that it's based just from reading it, and I'm probably not explaining it well, but based off of you read how you attack, it's based off of to me, it's based off of Dungeons& and
But,
Dragons,
like
rolling dice and having, depending on what kind of, like, armor and weapons you have, your armor and weapon can give you pluses to add on to your roll, so you can get a higher roll and getting higher damage or higher success rate.
Yeah, all
isn't,
that
like,
makes
every oh, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, all that makes sense because these were the games that BioWare did after Baldur's Gate, which was, a D&D game, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
So,
But
yeah, it makes sense that they would transplant that into, sci-fi fantasy.
I
But
was
yeah,
just
it
gonna
it was
say, though,
semi-real time as well.
isn't every RPG basically like a take on Dungeons& and Dragons, like, going all the way back to Wizardry?
Um, trying to think. I
'Cause they're all
mean,
supposed
I
to, like, be
guess.
replicas of tabletop role-playing games, like, that's even where the term came from.
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose you could say that.
I mean, Dragon Quest itself was very, very D&D inspired, at
I
least at
mean, it still
first.
has dragon in the title.
Yeah. Oh, Dragon Quest.
I have not really got into, I guess that kinda like like a Dungeons& and Dragons, like that type of fantasy game until I got to play, Skyrim. Like, I didn't know such games existed until I because oh my god. When I was working at Best Buy, this was like, was it 2020?
Mhm.
Okay, it's like 10 10 years ago. I worked at Best Buy, so 2010. So I worked at Best Buy for about 3 years. And I remember they needed an extra person. This is when we actually did like midnight releases for games. And they needed an extra person to be a cashier. I was like, well, fuck it. I'll take the hours. I need the money. And then after that, I just kept getting invited to do it. And it was just pretty cool because, I just thought like I just play my own little game at home and it is what it is. But I think that was like the first time I got introduced to like, wow, there really is like such a gaming community. I remember we had what was it? I think it was one of the Halos, and we were giving out like if you pre-ordered it or some bullshit like that, you got like a like you get like little extra stuff, the DLC and little like figurines or
I'm
whatever that
guessing this
come
was for
with it.
Halo Reach, right?
I think so,
It
yeah.
got released about 10 years ago.
hmm
Maybe
It
Halo
was
4.
I think no, I think it is Halo 4. It was just fun, because you got people out waiting outside in line and, going outside and getting everybody like pumped up or whatever. It's a good time. And like the one of the games was it was Skyrim, I believe. I don't know if it was Skyrim or the one before. But I was like, this game looks so cool. It looks like Dungeons and Dragons. And the girl who was in charge of like the gaming department, she was like, "You've never seen this type of game?" I was like, "No, this looks super fun. It's like D&D but brought to life. I want this game." Because I've played D&D. Like I used to play D&D all the time with my brothers, my sisters, and my dad. And I still have my own dice set from when I played Dungeons and Dragons, and my brothers have my dad literally has the monster manual, the player's handbook, like from the 80s. Like he still has those books. So it
Oh,
just
wow.
brings a lot of yeah, it's pretty cool. It just brings a lot of nostalgia to it. I don't know where I was going. I was going off a tangent, but I just love Dungeons and Dragons. Sorry. That was the point of the message.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised you made it that far without seeing any sort of Dungeons and Dragons inspired games because like pretty much every Western RPG is kind of a take on D&D. I think.
hmm
Well, maybe not aesthetically, though.
Well, that's true.
The
And you know what's
aesthetics
funny
count for a
is
lot.
Capcom, they got the Dungeons and Dragons license in I want to say late 80s, early 90s, and they made
hmm
beat 'em up games with it. Like you just went around beating up monsters, and it's like that is the least Dungeons and Dragons thing you could possibly do.
That is true. I mean, I think that's why I know now that you say that's like, wow, I really did. Like, how did I go that long without like, coming into but now looking at it, like really, like again, in your last podcast, you guys talked about parents only know like at the time it was just Nintendo. That was it. So same thing for us. Like all we had like games wise was, anything with Mario. I also had like Kirby Air Ride. That was a very fun game. Um, yeah, just Nintendo. So Zelda, like nothing really veering off from that. It wasn't until my brother got an Xbox. I think it was Xbox 360, whatever one it was. He had KOTOR 2.
Mhm.
I don't know why he didn't have KOTOR 1, but we had KOTOR 2.
Well, see, now your
And
opinion where you like 2 better than 1, that makes me feel like it's because you played 2 first.
No, two's better. Two might be sort of unfinished, but honestly, I played the first game originally, and I do think the second one's better. So I'll back her
I
up
think
on that.
I think the second one is better purely for, and again, I might be biased because I played KOTOR 2 first, but I think the reason why I really like it so much is one, I get to like I know you could technically can't you technically be a female character in KOTOR 1,
Yeah, you
but
could. It was just in the first one, canonically you're male. In the second game, you're canonically
yeah,
female. Hmm.
exactly. And I'm always going to be for, female protagonist lead in video games. That's just what I go for. But also like the characters, I feel like they're a bit more kind of fleshed out in the sense like especially Kreia. Like she's just such like her whole character arc, her story is just so good. I've watched a lot of videos just on her and like what they talk about. It's like it just I don't know. I really enjoy that game. I can agree it doesn't seem very finished. It's technically isn't finished because on one of the levels where you are I can't remember the name of what planet, but when you are basically trying to leave the first planet you get to, there's a sub-level, but you can't get in it. Apparently, it was supposed to be where if you got into it, you can basically figure out how the HK assassin droids, that's basically where they were built. They were built in that sub-level area, but that got cut from the game. I don't know why. I think that would have been cool to add, but I'm pretty
Most
sure
of
somebody
the
has modded that, though. I don't know. I don't really know anything about modding. That's like a whole other territory. I don't know if I want to try.
So most of the issues were down to budget constraints and time
Mhm,
constraints because they made the game in like a year, maybe less than a
mhm.
year. So yeah, Obsidian didn't really have much time to actually finish that game. They were basically told you got to get this out by the holiday season, so they just released what they had.
That's the
Um,
story for so many games. Like
yeah, it is.
Christmas has destroyed so many game releases.
And also with Knights of the Old Republic 2 and mods, the
Mhm.
mods they basically finished the game. Like the endings are
Yeah.
expanded and everything because in a lot of cases they had cutscenes. They just weren't
Mhm,
implemented. So if you mod the
mhm.
game out, you get like a full complete version of the game without them like adding like bullshit new dialogue. It's like dialogue that
Oh,
was already
can
in
I
there.
can I share a story about bullshit new dialogue? This happened to me recently, so I think it's relevant.
Wait, what
Absolutely, go
one
for it.
second, Connor, though. Before you start, I do wanna mention that I found out that Dungeons& and Dragons: Chronicles of Mystara, which is a collection of the 2 Capcom arcade beat 'em ups, is on Steam.
Oh my gosh, because they weren't in the beat 'em up bundle. Remember we played through that whole thing and
Uh-huh, but they are here, which I'm assuming it might have been due to licensing issues, they didn't wanna include it, but
yeah.
Chronicles of Mystara is on Steam, and I also think it's on Xbox One backwards compatibility.
Wait, does it have Mac compatibility on Steam?
I have no idea, but,
Oh.
I would recommend you look into it.
Yeah, I love those games where you beat people up. Fun times. But okay, so I obtained, I'm not going to say how, a copy of the first Final Fantasy, right?
Okay,
And
okay,
I decided to play it. So, I went into the castle where the king is, and in Final Fantasy, the first one you play is the Light Warriors, and you have to go rescue the princess. Okay. All
okay.
right. So I go up to the king, and he goes, "Bitch warriors, fuck has molested the princess. You have to help her." And that's Fukazzz, fuck as. And I was just like, what? That can't be what the. And it turns out he's supposed to say, Light Warriors. I think Garland has kidnapped the princess. You have to help her. And some enterprising young hacker had decided that they were going to improve the game by by spicing up some of the king's dialogue. So he just calls us the bitch warriors.
That is unfortunate.
I know. So now I'm never going to know what Final Fantasy is like.
Okay,
Oh my goodness.
that story makes me think, that, the modding community, really likes to fuck with people,
I
but
know. It's like almost a creepypasta
amazing.
story, except instead of getting like haunted or killed, I just get kind of yelled at and sworn at.
Yep.
Like, have you read any of Jessica? Have you read any of the stories where like somebody buys an old game in a garage sale and then it's like haunted?
No.
Oh my gosh, there's
Wait,
a million of
what's
them.
that Legend of Zelda one with the
Ben
haunted.
drowned.
Yes, Ben Drowns,
So
I think
like,
is what it's
can
called,
can I do
yeah.
a dramatic retelling briefly?
Yeah, sure, Ben Drowned.
Oh, Ben
Go
drowned.
ahead.
Okay, this is
Ben
to the
Drowned.
best of my memory, this is the story. A young man who remembers playing the Nintendo 64 as a kid goes to a garage sale where he finds a cartridge that is labeled Majora's Mask, but like the label's kind of peeled, so there's like a sticker on it, and it's like
Mm.
super cheap. And he's like, "Wow, I remember loving Majora's Mask as a kid. I guess I'll play it." So he goes and he puts in the cartridge, and there's a save file on it already for somebody named Ben, like in all caps. And he's like,
Mhm.
I'm not going to play as Ben. I'm going to start my own file." But then he starts it, and it's just the creepy mask guy. Have you ever played these Zelda games, Jessica?
I've never got to play Majora's Mask fully. I only got to play it on a demo when I
Oh,
had like the Zelda bundle. I think
Zelda
it was a
bundle?
demo. Actually, no. You know what it was? My brother hogged that game. No, I've
Oh,
not
okay.
played Majora's Mask in its entirety. I've just
Do you
seen
know who
bits and
the
pieces.
mask salesman is? He's at the beginning. He's like this.
He is in Ocarina of Time, yes.
Oh yeah,
He has
yeah,
his
he's
own
in
little
both of
mask
those
shop.
games.
Mhm.
But yeah, so he just appears and he goes, "You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" Which you remember he says that in the game. And then like
Mhm.
suddenly he starts chasing the player character playing as Link, and Link tries to run away, but then he turns into a weird creepy Link, and then the game reboots itself, and then the first file is still named Ben, but the second file is called Drowned, and it says Ben drowned. And it turns out the kid that used to own the game, Ben, he drowned, and now he haunts the game cartridge.
Sounds like a shitty afterlife.
Yep. He
Also,
haunts Majora's Mask.
I found out that Clive Barker and Warner Brothers wanted to adapt Ben Drowned into a movie.
What did Nintendo say about that?
I have no idea,
Don't
but they
tell people our
tried.
games are haunted.
They tried to adapt Ben Drowned.
There's a million. They actually made one based on a creepypasta called Candle Cove.
I mean,
Oh yeah,
honestly,
the TV show, right?
Channel Zero, they called it. What were you
Yep.
saying, Jessica?
I was gonna say, like, it just sounds like another Jason movie.
It sounds more like The Ring to me. You know how like you watch the tape and then she comes to get you.
Yeah, I'd
She
say it's
comes
more like
from a well. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know the whole story. Is that like
Well,
the
she
full
drowned. Well, no,
story?
she didn't
No,
drown.
I know she. No, I'm talking about Ben drowned. Did he
Oh,
drown via a
oh,
well
like
from
how
that?
Jason drowned in
wasn't
the
it in a
lake. Is that why
lake?
you're saying it's like Jason?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but then his mom was like trying to get revenge. What's weird about that movie is they never mention at any point that it's Friday the 13th in the movie. Like you
It's
just
just
I
called
Mhm.
Friday the 13th.
like I guess it was Friday the 13th that day.
Mhm.
Just like Nightmare on Elm Street. At no point in that movie do you see a sign for Elm Street. Do they ever mention that they're on Elm Street or anything
I
like
think
that?
they start to. I mean, I'm a terrible person, so like I've barely gotten into video games like a few years ago. So all of my horror movie knowledge is from my boyfriend because he is a horror movie connoisseur. So
Ugh.
we got through most of Jason, and Jason is my favorite. I haven't watched all of the Mike Myers stuff, so I can't really
I mean,
compare
after the
the
first one, you've kind of got the best of him. He's
Yeah,
never as
as
good.
far as Halloween goes, just watch the first one and watch the newest one that came out.
I think
I've seen the
Jason,
Because
newest one
the
for
newest one
sure.
pretends that nothing happened past the first movie.
but like I think Jason
So,
gets better as he goes along because he's not even in the first one,
oh no, agreed.
No.
he has that
Well,
burlap
technically
sack in
he
the second one.
is.
Well, yeah, as a
Oh
creepy
wait,
baby. Oh yeah,
spoiler.
spoilers for Friday the 13th. Put a sign up. And have you seen Carrie? Because the end of Friday the 13th is exactly the ending of Carrie, where like she
I've
freaks out.
seen the end of Carrie. I haven't seen the whole movie of Carrie, but I saw from the part where she gets home,
Oh, okay. So,
to her mom. So I've seen basically the best
do you
part,
remember when the friend
honestly.
wakes up in the hospital at the end, and it's like exactly like the ending of Friday the 13th?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's also the same ending for the remake of When a Stranger Calls. She wakes up in the
Oh, really? I've never
hospital.
seen either one of those. I like
Um,
Freddy Krueger. He's my favorite like horror movie character.
I don't know, like what. Okay, so after I've been comfortable with Jason. My boyfriend's like, okay, let's try Friday the 13th. I was like, okay. I
Well,
fell
Jason's
asleep.
in Friday the 13th.
I mean, not Friday the 13th. Nightmare on Elm Street.
But
Sorry,
you're
I
not
fell
supposed to fall
asleep.
asleep. That's
I
the whole point
know.
of the movie.
I know.
You are
I
lucky to
know.
be alive.
I know. It was just so ironic, and like I wake up, the movie's over, and I was like, "Hey, what I miss?" He was like, "Well,
Did you at least see
you're
Johnny Depp?
alive, so you didn't miss much."
Like young Johnny Depp in that movie?
Oh my god, yeah, he's like fetus beyond fetus.
Oh,
Like,
and
couldn't even like recognize that. Oh my god,
And
that
he's
is
only in
fucking
the
Johnny
he, and
Depp.
he's only in the movie to die.
yeah, well he lasts a really long time compared to the
Yeah.
other characters. Like he's second to last.
Mhm.
And then like what is it? The John Saxon, the cop. I think he's Nancy's father. My memory's a little yeah, he's Nancy's dad. I didn't realize
Yeah.
he's the guy from Enter the Dragon, like the one white guy in Enter the Dragon who clearly didn't really know kung fu. It's like I didn't recognize him, and I'm like, oh geez, because it was the first American produced kung fu movie, so they added a very conspicuous white man to the story
Mhm.
who was supposedly just as good as Bruce Lee at like kung fu, but we never saw him actually do it.
Yeah, well, his fake kung fu would have helped a lot against Freddy Krueger, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, like he.
He could have
Oh,
dreamt that he was a better martial artist.
oh yeah, like they get
That would have
really
solved it.
creative with the dreams in the later movies. Like in the first
You know
movies,
what? I love the third one.
Oh,
That
the
was my
third one.
favorite.
That's like
Is
you
that
might
the
That was Dream Warriors.
Dream
Yeah.
Team?
Dream
Or
Warriors.
Dream Warriors.
I'm
Yeah, yeah,
amazed there's
yeah.
not a Dream Team one, but yeah, Dream Warriors, and that was probably the best one because they got Wes Craven back. But the second one is it is the gayest horror film that's ever been made.
Oh yeah, it
Yes.
is.
Oh,
It
that's
is.
like apparently that's like a thing. Like it's just
That it's really like
Yeah.
a story about a young gay man
He
scared
goes
of
to a
his
leather
his
bar and then he rat tails
homosexuality.
somebody to death in the showers with a wet towel. Like, and then
somebody just wanted their kink to be noticed, guys. They just wanted their kink to be recognized.
It
The only way to
wouldn't
do
shock
it is
me.
horror movie.
his gym
it wouldn't
coach
shock
finds
me.
him in a leather bar, right? Because he goes out because Freddy's really weighing on his mind. He goes out to a leather bar in the middle of the night, and his gym coach finds him there. And then, as punishment for being in a leather bar underage, he doesn't call the boy's parents. He takes the boy to the school after hours, still in his leather bar outfit that he was wearing there, and makes the boy run laps around the gym. But then he goes into the showers to take a shower, and the boy gets possessed by Freddy Krueger and goes in and takes a wet towel and just wet towel whips him to death.
It truly is one of the more memorable movies in that series.
That is an incredibly
I
homoerotic sequel.
could see a really good remake of that story though.
Yeah. But like the
Actually.
rules for Freddy function completely differently in that movie than they do in any other Freddy movie.
They were
Well, yeah, because
experimenting.
he just goes like a balls out, pun intended. At
But-
the end, just
See, that's not
murdering
like Paper
everybody.
Mario, where the second one is the best one. That's it's like Super Mario Brothers, where the second one is the weirdest one, or Zelda. Like the second Zelda was just so bizarre.
Yeah. So we're saying that Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is the Adventure of Link.
Right, and Adventure of Link actually had leveling and experience points, unlike Paper Mario Sticker
Mario.
Star, Paper
Yep.
Mario Color Splash, and Paper Mario the Origami King. Cycling back.
All right.
Stop
Alright.
cycling back to just hating on Sticker Star.
I
Like,
know, and I'm the only one who
like-
played it, so I have to have enough hate for 3 people, and honestly, it's very draining.
All right. So how about we cycle to our next topic?
Right.
Let's end this Paper Mario discussion with the first two are great. Super Paper Mario is good. Don't play Sticker Star. Paper Jam is iffy. Color Splash is better, but not great. Not really worth playing. And Origami King, Connor, you said that was good,
It's
right?
pretty good. I liked it. I'd recommend it, but just don't go in expecting Thousand Year Door.
What would you give it out of 10?
Oh gosh, that's tough. Because I would say 7, except usually 7's considered to be bad, but like on an actual of 10 scale, I'd say 7.
Let's do the of 10 scale. What would you say?
Yeah, 7. I'd
Okay,
say,
that's
I wouldn't consider 7 bad. Like, I wouldn't consider that a bad.
But most
Like-
publications, like most publications, operate on like a 4-point scale. Like if you go to like IGN, except IGN's review of Double Dragon Neon. Do you remember that? How like the guy was like he clearly had a chip on his shoulder. All right, Jessica, do you know what Double Dragon is? It's like a beat 'em up game.
No, but I'll play along with what's going on.
The dude on IGN did a review, and at the beginning he's like, "Double Dragon is like that guy at a party who thinks he's so cool." It was just
that was embarrassing.
Like
How do
clearly,
you start an article like that?
I don't know, and it was like a video
on a
article.
video game.
Yeah,
And
it
he
was a video review of it on YouTube. You can watch it on their website.
He had been like bullied as a child, presumably by some other kid that really liked Double Dragon. I don't know.
Maybe it was somebody who was like a meaner version of the characters from Double Dragon.
Well,
or
the characters from Double Dragon go around beating people to death, so to work to be meaner.
Well, I mean, as far as
they do it in the name of justice.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
or revenge.
He's like, it's like that guy at the party who thinks he's so great, but he's really not that great, and he thinks he's really special. It's like, did you just lose your girl, sir?
Are you having flashbacks to your horrible childhood? Like, what's
going on? Did a martial artist come, punch your girlfriend in the gut, and then carry her off over his shoulder?
What did Way Forward do to you?
God. And like, apparently the game's good. I've been trying to play it, but I have to do nonsense because I don't have a PC.
Well, maybe you should invest in an Xbox One Series S. They're $300.
I've been told that we're a PlayStation household. My wife says I can't have an Xbox.
Just buy one in secret.
I think she'd figure it out. You're like, what's this attached to the TV? Nothing.
No, just get the put a Sony
I was
logo on
gonna
it.
say, isn't the newest Xbox black? So you could put a Sony sticker on it and
No,
there you
I
go.
think the Series S is white and the Series X is black.
Oh my gosh, you need to see like the prototype Xbox that was a giant like metal X.
Sounds I would have bought that.
It was.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get a picture for you guys.
I was gonna say, isn't it like there's like a joke going on like comparing like I don't know who sent it to me, but it was like the newest Xbox and they sat it right next to a GameCube. It's like it's literally a fucking computer, a desktop computer, which it pretty much is, but it's like isn't the whole like I don't know, like as a console, wouldn't you want it to be smaller? More
I mean,
I don't know.
you
I
just
don't
want
know. I'm
something
not
that
a
you know
game
all your
develop
games
I'm
will
not a
work for.
game developer.
Anyway, I just sent it, the Xbox prototype from 2000.
Okay, I don't see that selling in Japan. I see it selling in America only, which is essentially what happened anyway. So,
Is
hey.
that the disk drive there, like completely diagonal like that? Like, geez.
Yeah. That looks like the coolest console ever.
That is a monstrosity.
But it's shaped like an X. It's cool.
Oh gosh.
It looks heavy AF though.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of prototypes, did you see that personal computer? Did you see
See, there it is. There it is.
did
I
you see
mean, it is what it is. It is what it is.
that they found a prototype of the Nintendo PlayStation and they got it working?
See, that looks slick. It looks clean. It looks I don't know. I
Okay,
It
think
looks
it's
way too
cool.
big for your living room.
You know what the Series X is reminding me of right now?
What?
It's like two Nintendo GameCubes trying to pretend they're older.
Oh,
You
like in
know,
a
like in
trench
a trench
coat?
coat.
Oh yeah.
That's
The
what this
GameCube
reminds
was
me of.
was small even for its time though. I remember those itty bitty discs.
Yes, they were
Yes.
adorable.
Those were nerve-wracking when I put them in my Wii because it's like a slot loader, and I'm like, "What are you gonna do with this slot loading disk drive?"
It was just annoying because they didn't hold too much memory, so you had games like
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 and Killer 7 were on 2 discs.
I know, and nowadays you know that it would be one disc, and then you'd have to download the rest of the game. They did that with the
That's for
Mega Man
sure.
Legacy Collection,
Oh,
or I
yeah,
think
that was a real shame, yeah.
and it's like, you can't
Or
fit Mega
like
Man ROMs on a cartridge? Like, how much space do you have, sir?
I mean, I don't know, like, I had Sims 3, but I like, on the GameCube, but, I don't know if there was, like, any expansion packs for GameCube, but, now that you guys are saying it's a maybe, but, like, the memory itself for just Sims 3 was, like, a shit ton of memory, and, like, we had, like to have, like, 2 memory cards, which,
Honestly,
like
with The Sims, it was only worth playing it on Xbox because of the problem you're talking about.
Oh
mm.
my gosh, the Philips CDI. Jessica, have you ever seen the games that were on the Philips CDI?
Why does it look like a place no, that looks like a
It
NES
does. Do
controller.
you wanna hear the sordid tale?
Sure.
So, Nintendo made a deal with Sony to make a CD drive for the Super Nintendo. And
Mhm.
then Sony was also gonna release, a all-in-one system that could play Super Nintendo games and CD games, and it was gonna be called the PlayStation. And Nintendo
Okay.
went behind their backs because they didn't like the contract and made a deal with Philips to do a CD drive. And then Sony got mad, took their PlayStation, like, made it as its own independent product. And then Philips, it fell through there, but as a result of the deal, they got the license to make Mario and Zelda games for their terrible CD-based, video game system.
It does look like a DVD VHS player,
Yeah.
at least from the picture that's on
Yeah.
here.
So, like, there are these Mario and Zelda games that were officially licensed by Nintendo, but they're just these terrible bootleg, ridiculous things.
Mhm.
Like, I'm gonna send a YouTube link. I know we're recording right now, but you need context for this.
Wait, Jessica, have you seen those animated Legend of Zelda, videos on YouTube? Like YouTube
Yeah.
poop is what they're called?
No.
Okay, then yeah, Connor, share it with
Okay.
her.
Sharing it
Also,
with you.
can we just say that the Amiga CD in this photo, the controller looks like it just looks terrible.
I mean, was the Amiga even like a game system? Wasn't that an actual computer?
No, it was an actual computer. I don't know what the Amiga CD32 was, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was
I
terrible.
love that like the PlayStation was so small that the disk drive takes up like most of the surface area.
Hey, it was a good CD player though.
I know, it was great, and then the PlayStation 2 was a great DVD player. Did you get the link, Jessica?
I did, and I clicked it open, but unpaused it, obviously, because we're still recording.
Oh, no,
It
go
looks
ahead
like
and just watch it right now, we'll be
oh, it's
quiet.
58 seconds, okay.
There you
I'm
go.
watching it right now. It's as
Okay,
horrible
yeah.
as I remember.
Okay, it can't so whenever recording, it can't, like, hear my okay, cool.
Oh,
Alright,
geez.
that's what I was trying to avoid.
Sorry, I just tried to play it and it played on my speaker, so I don't know if you heard that, if it picked
No,
up.
I didn't. Okay, cool. I mean, on my headphones, so it's good.
Yeah.
This
This
is like the
is
only time we've seen the King of Hyrule until, Breath of the Wild, I think. 'Cause
and now
he
we
was
know
just
why.
off screen in Ocarina of Time, like, he was
Now
in
we
the
know
other
why
room.
he won't make appearances.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's fine, come on, he's a fun guy.
But yeah,
They have Aladdin's balcony. The fuck?
this video is giving me an existential crisis. It truly is.
How about a kiss for luck?
Wait, isn't that weird? Okay, before we go on to I'm thinking of ending things, we just talk about the Legend of Zelda cartoon and how fucking weird Link is
Oh,
on that
okay.
one?
Link's catchphrase, or a little context for our listeners.
Excuse me, princess.
In the late 1980s, Nintendo licensed out their characters to Deke Entertainment, and the original plan was they would do a show like where it would be a different video game cartoon every day of the week, and then eventually they just pared it down to only Mario and Zelda. And for Monday through Thursday, they'd show a Mario cartoon in the afternoon, and then on Friday they'd show a Zelda cartoon. And in both cases, they would be introduced by two actors playing the live-action Mario Brothers. And Mario was actually a wrestler, a professional wrestler named Captain Lou Albano. Um, and just every Friday they would have a Zelda cartoon. There were 13 episodes of it, and at that point, only Zelda 1 and 2 were out. So all the lore they had to draw on was from the original game and Adventure of Link, and that's not a lot. It's a little context for listeners.
It looks like the video. It looks like somebody made it in Windows Paint, which is still like which if that's true, that took probably fucking forever.
I
But
know.
that's what it looks like dead ass serious. It looks like somebody made this in Windows Paint.
And there's a lot of movement. Like they put effort into it. They just weren't good. Is the problem. And it's like this is Nintendo signed off on this, but I don't think they actually got to see it before it went out. But because they never made a Super Nintendo CD drive, like their consolation prize for Philips was you can use the Zelda and Mario characters for your own games.
Man.
And like imagine you had a Philips CDI. I think that thing was like $600 at retail, and then this was the big game for you to play.
Oh, yikes.
But yeah, the cartoon came out a couple years before this, and it had a lot of the same. Like Link kept asking for Zelda to kiss him in that one too.
Well, the fact that Link is talking is weird.
Oh, you need to see. Can we do one more, Augustine? Just show her the cartoon Link.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Let's just the opening should be enough, right? Because he says his catchphrase in the opening. This is so great to have somebody who hasn't seen these things before, so I can just bombard them with clips and links. I'm sure it's going to get old for you very quickly.
Horrible.
No, you're fine. I'm like I said.
Okay,
I feel
so
like
this looked a lot
what
better.
Link has brown hair?
He
What?
did in the early
Well, yeah,
games.
didn't he in the first game?
Yeah,
in the art.
He had pink hair in Link.
No, that was in
Link's
the
Awakening, Link to the
SNES
Past,
one.
yeah. But in the first couple, he had brown hair, and then in the Princess had brown hair on the NES games too.
Wait a minute, they just ripped that like opening. I feel like they ripped that opening from He-Man, but okay.
I'll just keep going. But Nintendo just made all their characters blonde.
Why is Ganon a pig?
Oh, because that's not Ganondorf. That's Ganon. He was always a pig. His human form came later.
Yeah, in which game? The fourth one, right?
It was Ocarina of Time was the first time we saw like Ganondorf. He was like he might have been Aghanim in the third game, but I
So
don't know.
now we could shoot lasers from a sword?
He could do that in the first Zelda game. Like a lot of this stuff is actually from
Okay,
the
but
games.
were they supposed to be lasers in the original game?
Probably not. You know, there's an episode where he trades in the Master Sword for a new sword, but then it can't
Mhm.
shoot beams. So he's like, "No, it's useless." And it's like, "Well, you could hit someone with it, but no, you couldn't do that on kids' cartoons in the '80s." So if the sword doesn't fire laser beams, it's useless to him. But Zelda's got pants in this show.
Yeah, so why can't you just have
And he
pants?
keeps
What's wrong with
sexually
pants?
harassing her
Oh
too.
yeah, he does. And then his little fairy is like in love with him. And the thing is, he didn't have a fairy companion in the games at that point. It was just an item you'd find. Like Navi
Mm,
came later. So like they
mhm.
kind of predated some of the stuff in the games with this.
Maybe the games stole from this.
Probably
Maybe it
not.
was like
Oh,
reception.
and then like Zelda showed up on Captain N, the Game Master, with like a completely different design. And here's the comparison for you. So like she got like a belly shirt and like a one glove type of thing.
I'm
Yeah,
just gonna just yeah.
That just looks gross.
Nintendo just they licensed themselves out to do like a bunch of cartoons in the '80s. There was
Mhm.
a Mario cartoon that was just based on Donkey Kong in like 1982. Like there's a whole
Mhm.
legacy of this stuff, and none of it was very good. Uh, and like Donkey Kong Jr. was kind of like a take on Scrappy Doo, but instead of puppy power, he'd say monkey muscle.
Oh my god, one of my favorite 64 games is Diddy Kong Racing.
Oh, that's
Like,
so great. I love that
high
game.
key. It is so good. I like it like, I'm probably gonna get hate for this, but I like it better than Mario Kart. I
I
don't know why.
mean,
It's just really good.
I gotta say I like Mario Kart better because there's a lot of pressure in Diddy Kong Racing to like get all the medals and like beat Pig, and like I just want to race my kart, you know.
Oh, no, I'm a sucker for story plots.
But Rare's whole thing is like they'll take something Nintendo did and kind of do it a little bit better. Like you look at Super Mario World and you look at Donkey Kong Country and then you look at Super
Mhm.
Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie. And it's like they kind of take the Nintendo thing and expand on it.
Unless it's
Mhm.
Donkey Kong 64.
Oh, well they expanded quite a lot on that
But
one.
I would say it was a weaker game
I
though.
said it expanded, not improved. Or did I
I
mean
said
improved?
expanded and better game.
Okay, cut out the part where I say better and
Just leave
include Donkey
expanded.
Kong on there.
Expanded on the ideas. Okay.
Yeah. They're like, what if there were 1,000 bananas to collect? Like, what if there were? Yeah.
Is that like a thing?
Yeah, okay. In Donkey Kong 64, there's 5 characters you can play as, and each
Mhm.
one can only collect one color of banana. You can see the bananas all the time. So if you see some blue bananas, you have to go
Mhm.
back to the place where you can change your character, change into Tiny Kong who can pick up the blue bananas. I think it was her. Go all the way back and get those blue bananas. But then you keep walking, you run into some red bananas. Oh, nope. Go all the way back to the barrel. Switch to Diddy Kong and go back and get the red bananas.
Oh,
And you gotta
no.
get the bananas. You gotta get the bananas, Jessica.
Why can't you just switch right then and there?
I don't
That's
know. You have to go to the
ridiculous.
switching barrel. That's how it works.
Okay.
And then
Oh,
there's rainbow coins and there's like medallions and there's crystal coconuts and there's ammo for your gun and you got to get upgrades to the gun to get more ammo and there's like each character has their own set of collectible things that only they can pick up and their own set of golden bananas or the version of stars that only they can get and you have to go through every level like 25 times because like 5 times for each of the Kongs. It's just it asks a lot of you this game.
And not for much return.
it asks a
Yes.
lot of your patience.
I know, and it's like the real reason that like Mario 64 you had to go back into the same area over and over again is that like because of memory limitations they couldn't make a game where like every star was a new area the game couldn't fit like
Mhm.
so that kind of became because of limitations the way these games worked you'd go into the place get the star leave go back in you know but they
Got it,
took it
got it,
too
got it.
far they took it too far with Donkey Kong 64.
Oh, man.
What are you even
That's
collecting in Conquer like what is your thing that you're trying to get
Like I haven't played it, but are you talking about just regular Conquer or the
No, I'm
really
talking about like
adult one?
yeah,
The
mean
adult
adult Conquer.
Conquer.
I think in the kid-friendly Conquer, that was only on the Game Boy, and you're trying to find like birthday presents. But I don't know what you were trying to get in like the N64 one. Do you know,
I've
Augustine?
never played that
I remember
game.
you get life by eating chocolate.
Yeah, I remember that. But did you
That's
have like an
about it.
item like the stars or the golden banana or the jiggies that you were trying to get?
No, I remember Conquer mainly being you collect random items for specific characters. Yeah, I don't
Like
think it
Donkey
was
Kong?
like yeah, something like that. I don't think it was let me look it up. I haven't played Conquer's Bad Fur Day in a long time.
Only played for like a few minutes. Like I'd
Though
heard
it
rumors about how great it was.
though it is included on Rare Replay, which is why that game is rated M.
That's the only M-rated game Rare ever made?
No, I think Perfect Dark is rated M as well.
Oh yeah, I heard that was good.
I had
Yeah.
that game for 64.
What? But you weren't old enough for an M-rated game.
I mean, my dad didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was. I just saw a woman on the cover. I was like, I want that game.
But you don't even see her. You're first person the whole time.
No, I know, but like in the face.
No, they were
Oh my God.
cutscenes.
Yeah, you
Oh,
could.
Yeah,
No,
they're
I
cutscenes.
and
I
she
didn't
was
even
British.
play. I didn't even play the
So was
story.
Laura
I just
Croft.
tried to play the fight, like battling other people, but it was battling computers. So that's what I played most of the time, was hiding and shooting.
So you needed the expansion pack for that game, I thought.
Probably
To
because
play
that
the
was the only
single player.
thing to
Oh,
play
to play the
single
single
player.
player. Yeah, there
Yeah.
was when Donkey Kong Country came out, it had so many goddamn bananas to collect that you had to get a special RAM expansion for the N64 and put it in so that the N64 could handle the sheer amount of bananas that you had to run around and find. And then a lot of other games like Majora's Mask and
Mhm.
Perfect Dark, you needed that pack in your system if you're going to play them.
Yeah, see, I only got when I got Perfect Dark, I only had like if you were gonna do 4-player battles, that was the only thing that I had access to, or if I
Oh,
can remember
because you
at the
didn't have the
time.
expansion pack. Oh
No.
no. Do you remember
Like
the
I said,
commercials?
super noob.
Do you remember the commercials that they had for that? Did you ever see those?
No.
It was like Joanna Dark like getting dressed in her hotel room, and it was like lingering shots of her in her underwear, and it's like she's gonna save the world. It's just
Oh god.
like they were into it. It's like I don't think anything like that was in the game.
Yeah, game advertisements can still be embarrassing nowadays, but they were extra embarrassing pre-2010.
I know. You got to experience the Zelda rap for the first time thanks to me, huh, Augustine?
Yep,
Yeah, that's a
pretty cool.
commercial from 1987, Jessika, where these two kids are on the couch, right? And one of them is a
Mhm.
complete nerd. He's got a pocket protector, he's got thick glasses, and his hair's slicked back. And the other one's kind of a cool kid, right? And they're sitting on the
Mhm.
couch, and the nerd, he's got a piece of paper, and he goes, "Have you seen the latest Nintendo newsletter?" And the cool kid looks at the newsletter and goes, "Whoa, sweet graphics! I'd like to get my hands on that game." And then the nerd goes, "You mean you haven't played it yet? We can hook it up on my Nintendo Entertainment System." And then they put The Legend of Zelda in. And then nothing on God's green earth can prepare you for what happens next in this commercial because a beat comes up from the background and the nerd goes, "It's The Legend of Zelda and it's really rad," and proceeds to rap for like the next 30 seconds.
I can't believe that you remember that dialogue verbatim.
How could I not? How could that not have been seared into my brain forever?
I feel like you just rewatched it. You just looped it to torture yourself until you would
Torture
remember
myself.
every single line.
And then at the end, he's going like, "Wick, wick, wiki, wiki, wick. Go, Link, get some."
Oh god, that is such an 80s. Oh
Yeah.
god, like the cringe level is just
And then the two kids at the end, like one of them was like, "Awesome," and the other goes, "Intense." And then it goes like, "The Nintendo Entertainment System. Your parents hook it up," because they're like, "Don't try and hook this up yourself, kids. You couldn't handle it."
apparently, which I feel like is technically wrong. I don't know.
See, I love that with like children's commercials. Like the Barbie commercial will be like, "Ask your parents if you can go online and see Barbie's dream house." Like, I imagine calling up my parents and being like, "Hi, mom. Hi, dad. How's everything? Can I go online and look at Barbie's Dream House?" And they're like, I mean, they didn't specify an age limit in that commercial. It told me I had to ask.
Very true.
Now, I'm sorry, I'm derailing us here. Augustine, the Charlie Kaufman film released this year on Netflix, I'm Thinking of Ending Things, based on a novel of the same name.
Yeah, the novel was done by it was actually the debut novel for Lane Reid. I think it no, Iain Reid. On Wikipedia
Oh,
it
and
looks
the
like an
capital
L.
I looks like
It's
a
a
lowercase
capital
I.
I. Yeah, Iain Reid is I'm assuming how you're supposed to pronounce that.
And
So
we have
debut novel of a Canadian writer. And yeah, they got adapted into a Netflix film, written and directed by Charlie Kaufman,
does the novel take
starring
place in America the way the movie does?
It
I'm
looks like it. I mean,
Well, no, the movie
I
is definitely in
don't
Oklahoma,
remember.
but the novel was written by Canadians, so I'm wondering if they changed
mm,
that.
Is Dairy Queen in Canada?
I don't know.
yeah, I guess there is Dairy Queen in Canada.
Have you seen one in
Oh,
Canada?
don't ask me how I know.
I've got a Dairy Queen story that I think is in keeping with this movie. If you want to hear that,
All right,
it's
but let me
brief.
just say who stars in this
Oh
film.
yes,
It
yes, yes.
stars Jesse Plemons, Jesse Buckley, Tony Collette, and David Thewlis.
Which Jessie is a female person, and which Jessie
So
is a male
Jesse
person?
Plemons is the actor who was infamous for being the so-called Meth Damon for Breaking Bad, and Jessie Buckley is an Irish actress, and she's really really good.
Wait, Meth Dave was he the guy from the end of the show who kept talking about his uncle?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember him. He sucked.
Well, he was good in the show, but his
Yeah, I know.
character
He was a bad
he
guy
was
on the
he was
show.
a terrible
Like
person.
he
Yeah.
he was a good actor, but the character he played was
He's a
annoying, and I hated him.
I didn't think he was annoying. I thought he was just like vile in a way distinct from
Mhm.
the other characters because on the show he acts like he just does horrible things and he just acts like it's the same as blowing your nose or something.
Oh yeah. Oh, but okay. So there's a scene in the movie, without getting too much into it too far, where they go to. It's supposed to be Dairy Queen. It's not, but and they have a very unsettling interaction with the girl at the counter. And I
Mm,
experienced something like that in real life once. I was driving across the country. I was going to California, and I stopped. I was in Texas. I stopped at a Dairy Queen, and I said, "I'd like a chocolate ice cream with a cherry dip." And they said, "We don't have cherry dip." I said, "Well, what dips do you have?" They said, "We have chocolate dip." And I said, "Well, chocolate dip and chocolate ice cream seems a little redundant." And she says, "We don't have chocolate ice cream. We just have vanilla here." And I said, "Really?" And then she leaned across the counter and said, "You're not from around here, are you?"
ugh.
So weird. Like the
Okay.
Dairy Queen from where I'm from has all that stuff. But then, yeah, I ordered stuff that wasn't on the menu, and she's just like, "You're not from around here, are you?" But I got my ice cream and I got the hell out of there.
I was
that
gonna
that
say,
does
and then they
sound
drag your ass to the back.
Like
that
I don't
does
know what
sound
would have happened, but
disturbing.
anyway. So the film, a brief summary. It's about a young woman who is referred to as just young woman in all the synopsises.
But in the
Visiting.
movie itself though, she's referred to by several names.
Yeah, but the subtitles give the game away of the name changing thing by just saying young woman every time.
Yeah.
I had to watch with subs. There
Yeah,
was a lot of whispering in the movie. It was kind of hard to hear some of the dialogue.
I always watch movie with subs
Yeah,
if
me
I
too.
can.
Yeah.
It's just a thing.
But so she goes to visit her boyfriend's parents, but unbeknownst to her boyfriend, she's actually thinking about breaking up with him because she doesn't really feel like the relationship's going anywhere, but she's still going to meet his parents.
Yeah,
Mm.
that
And
about
that's the
sums up
synopsis.
the movie. Yeah, as far as the general concept.
Yep, and his parents show up and they're kind of awkward and kind of weird, and then the movie starts getting a little bit off the rails.
That's putting it very lightly.
Yeah.
Okay, so did we like the film? Because I told Connor last weekend when this released on Netflix, I ended up watching it several times in a row, waiting for the podcast to upload to YouTube because YouTube is garbage.
It
Um,
Mm.
is.
and so I decided, you know what, might as well put this on loop because it's a Charlie Kaufman movie, and his movies tend to be a bit complicated. And
Mhm.
yeah, I would say that I'm leaning to positive, but I'm still not really sure if I like the movie as like it's a good movie. It's a very well made movie. I'm not exactly sure the point is something that required this story to be told exactly on film.
It
I don't know
creates a
what.
Mhm.
really fun atmosphere, but it just doesn't. I don't feel like it really went anywhere, and then it just kind of ended. Like I had a good time, but I wouldn't want to see it again.
Which I feel is the point of the film, that it doesn't go anywhere because it reflects the characters and how they're stuck. They're not really going anywhere at all. Okay, so Jessica, what was your opinion on the film?
I had the total opposite feeling. I just felt like I was just felt anxious the whole time because I'm just thinking, because first of all, fucking Tony, once Tony Collette got on the scene, I was like, okay, shit's about to go down. Something's
Uh,
about to pop up. Somebody's about to get dragged. Someone's about to get murdered. I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting, because even I've again, like I've said earlier, like I barely started getting horror movies like since 3 years ago, but I'll still like get anxiety, watching it, like getting scared, like please just let it be over, let the jump scare happen, just let it be, like,
But it never
and it
happens in this
never
movie.
happens, and I
Can we
just
even
felt
call it a horror movie?
so
Is it's just kind of
no,
no, you
I would say it is a horror film, but it's an existential horror film, is what
maybe
it
that was
is.
the point because, like, I'm still, like I'm pissed off, like, is it weird that I'm pissed off I didn't get scared because I was literally having my heart, like, just be, like, right on the edge the whole time because 'cause I'm like, "Hurry the fuck up and something happen," and that's pretty much if I were to sum up the
but
movie,
nothing ever
but
does.
nothing happens. I've never been so irritated in my life, and I can agree with you. It's produced very well, the acting is done very well, like, it looks like, it kinda looks like in I hate to make the comparison, it kinda, like, reminds me of Hereditary, but I already made my own review if you check out my channel, I've already made a review on Hereditary. It just, like, kinda boring. Like, it was like, what was the point? And I don't and I feel like and maybe this is just my own personal opinion, I feel like for movies, if I have to watch it more than, like, a few times to get the point of the movie, then I feel like, "Why are you giving me a homework assignment?" That's not why I watch movies. I don't watch movies to get a homework assignment. Now, I do agree that there are a couple of movies where you kinda do have to watch it twice just to see like, "Oh, shit, I missed this and I missed this," but you still are on plot, you are still kind of, like, following the plot the first time you watch it, but then the second time you watch it, you get more of, like, the Easter eggs that you missed, which is fine, okay. But if I have to watch it more than twice for that to come across, now you've just given me a homework assignment, and no. Like, it just no. I don't
Okay,
wanna watch something more than 3 times.
Like, I don't know about you, Jessica, but I didn't get this at all. When I read a
Okay.
synopsis online after I saw the movie, it said, it was all in the janitor's head. It was all his dream, and I did not get that from watching the movie. Did you get that from watching the movie?
Okay, so and then I thought about it, like, because what you I don't know who pointed Augustine, I think you pointed it out, like, or I don't know, one of you pointed out, like,
well,
them being just stuck,
yeah,
that
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 was
was me.
that's
Augustine.
the
Yeah.
point. Okay, yeah, that's I guess kind of the point, them being stuck. So, and like, after, watching it, I was like, so are we just a are we the character in dementia? Was that the point of watching it? And then it kinda reminded me of the short story I read in, like, high school, and it's kinda funny that we talked about this, like, the simulation theory, is anything reality? The short story was about, this girl asking, "Is this real?" And then the person talking to her is like, "Is anything real?" And then she just starts to think things into existence, but then realizes things aren't into existence, and I don't know, it just kinda reminded me of that, like, is this not really a reality? So
See, this movie, if you didn't read the book or if you just watched it without anything, that would have been what I would have thought originally, that it was going, that maybe it was all like those things people post like on Reddit about glitches in the Matrix, where
Mhm.
you start noticing things that don't really fit with reality, and you start
Yeah.
thinking you live in a fake reality. That's what this I thought that was I would have thought that that's where the main character was going with, with the young woman, that
Mhm.
something reality was breaking down or she had a mental illness. And then it turns out that's not at all what the movie's about. Not like there's probably okay, I'm going with Jake is mentally ill,
Mhm.
possibly.
Well, I
I
think
mean,
he's just
what do
having a
I
you
thought
daydream
Jake
is what's
was the
happening.
janitor
Yeah,
for
he
a
was
but
he's
moment
the
there.
janitor.
it's such a well, okay, I was gonna say it's such like a detailed daydream, right? But then the details keep changing, which I
Yeah.
assume is a way that like Charlie Kaufman and the original writer trying to
Mhm.
replicate like the how you process a daydream, where even in the middle of a scene in your daydream, the details keep changing. So like
Yeah.
so the young woman, the first name we're given for her is Lucy because Jake calls her that because of I think the Beatles song, right?
But then she
Or
gets a
something.
phone call. It was from
No,
From
no.
Paul.
Yeah,
Lucy.
yeah.
Yeah, she
In
gets
the
a phone
car.
call from
Yeah.
Lucy, and then I was like, "Oh shit, are we is this gonna be a paranormal film? Like, what the fuck is going on?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and
You
they
know?
said something about it being her name too, and she's like, "Okay, yeah," and then later on, he calls her Ames, and then
That's
she's
like near
like,
the very end.
Yes.
But every
that's
other
near
new
the end of
name
the
he
film,
has
yeah.
is some variation of Lucy, like
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Lucia.
some variation of
Lucia,
And then
Luisa.
then like Ames is like the weirdest one. Like, and that's
because
I
it
think
doesn't fit at
Mhm.
all. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
right when he said Ames, I was like, "Oh shit, he's gonna kill her now," and then no.
I really
No.
thought he
That's
was too.
See, yeah, this movie easily, if it hadn't turned out to be what it was about, because we're gonna go full spoilers on this movie, but
yeah,
you could have
hashtag
assumed it would
spoilers.
be like this really simple, like almost like a novella or a short story about a woman who goes to see the
One
parents of a
second,
guy she's
guys.
not really into, and then the guy
Can
just
I'm
I
kills
read
her, and that's the end.
can I
uh,
retort with that? This was
Yeah,
not a
sure.
fucking short story.
Oh no, it's not because it's
it
like
was
2
kind of
hours
Fucking
like
long.
2 hours long.
it was kind of like the White Get Out.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's well, yeah,
Anyway, I just heard
in a bit, in a way.
some unsettling noises here, so I'm gonna go mute for a second.
Okay.
Maybe you could edit that out, but
No, I'm gonna leave it in. Okay, Jessica. So, so yeah, I thought that yeah, it's not a short story. It's obviously a 2 hour or plus movie. But I
Mhm.
just the fact that the story itself isn't really the basic plot you can summarize in like a paragraph, right? Just a woman goes to see the parents of a guy she's not into. And then it turns out it's really about the janitor and about how his life didn't go anywhere, so he's just fucking daydreaming about, like, a life that could have been, or he's, like, in his final moments dying in a car, he's, like, combining all these memories layered one on top of the other. So, maybe
Mhm.
the woman wasn't because then one of the final scenes of the movie, she has a conversation with him, and I guess even in his daydreams, he can't win because she just tears into him and basically says that he sucked and that they didn't even know each other in real life.
Mhm.
But I got the feeling in the film that it wasn't like that he never had a relationship with a woman. It was like the physical appearance of the woman was manifested as somebody he never knew, but like aspects of her personality were people that he actually did know or was involved with romantically or wanted
hey,
to be romantically involved with. I mean,
hello
what do you
guys.
think? Oh, hey Connor.
Hello.
So I heard a scream from the other room. It turns out my wife was playing Alien Isolation on the PlayStation 4.
Well, I mean, it is Alien Isolation, so
It's a pretty
understandable.
spoopy game, yeah.
All right, Jessica. So what do you think about what I said about Jake and the janitor and the young woman?
I mean, mean, yeah, you could like spin it that way. Again, I'm not a super movie buff, like when it comes to like directors, screenplay, whatever the hell, you know. I'm the average Joe Schmo over here, and yeah, you can argue that it's
Jill
cool in
Schmill.
some Jill Schmill, sorry, female over here. Um, don't get me wrong, I do like some movies that make you think, but I felt like it was just so all over the place with no plot, with no end, and I had to like think really hard to backtrack who was who, but no one is anybody. Reality doesn't exist, and my brain hurts, and my heart is just still like on edge with no jump scare. It's an
Like
I feel unfinished. Was that the point of the
the part at the Dairy Queen was like genuinely very unsettling when the girl is like,
Mhm.
that smells not varnish. Like I like
It
shit,
was
what's going on
super
here? And then we
unsettling.
never found out what was going on there.
Well, and it doesn't really matter because it's just
It
basically all
matters to
nightmare.
me, Augustine.
Well,
But
It
yeah, in the end, the speech that he gives is word for word from a movie from 2001 called A Beautiful Mind. And I saw that movie in theaters 19 years ago. And because my memory is ridiculous and remembers the most useless things, I'm like, what? I remember this speech. But like, it wasn't until the part where they were talking about movies that I got what was going on with the girl, how everything that she said or talked about was like something that Jake had read or seen. Like her paintings were like posters he had as a kid, and then when she was talking about her opinions on movies, it was Pauline Kael reviews from that book that he had in his room. And then
Mhm.
like when he had to give a speech, it was the speech from a movie he'd seen, an actual real movie that I'd also seen. So like I'm not sure how much of it at the beginning was that same stuff because like the poem she reads is a real poem from one of those poetry books.
uh-huh. The
Yeah.
poem that she supposedly wrote in the car, the Bones one, that was from a collection that's in his room.
So like everything she says is just parroting like things that he's heard in other places because he imagined her. And so all her thoughts and opinions are just things that he's seen. But like,
It just sorry, go ahead and finish. I'll give my thought in a
oh no,
sec.
no, that's I didn't get that until she started doing film reviews. But even then, it's like, well, that's kind of neat. But so what? What does that imply?
I don't even know. It's just the the janitor who I thought was ended up being Jake, like, I thought they were the same person or
They
whatever,
are
and
the same person, aren't they?
right? It just feels like they
Yeah, they're
are,
meant
and
to
so,
be,
like, with that
apparently.
being said, you know, like, when we see the janitor scenes in the beginning, it just seems like he's super creeping on the young high school girls, which I was just like, "Okay, this
Is
is
that the
starting
same
to get."
girl that's at the Dairy Queen later?
Yeah, they're
Yes,
the
it's the
same
same
people.
blonde
They're
girls,
also
they're
the
the
one
same
they're
people.
all the people in the high school are the same people in the crowd at the end, in
Because
the
when she
Mhm.
audience.
says, when he says they won't come if they know it's me. So apparently he's been
Yeah.
like they've seen him and they do not want to talk to that guy. And
But
then he
but
like he gets super awkward at the Dairy Queen.
but do you think that's because he was creeping on people or just because people view him as weird because he's so, like, inside of himself? Because I feel like Jake is a character that you can interpret in many ways. You can interpret him as an incel. You can interpret him as
Yeah, I
a
was getting, like,
person
super
who was
incel
just
nice guy I'm nice guy
from the
vibes.
way he's remembering his parents, you can interpret it as he had a lot of trauma as a child, so maybe he had
Mhm,
potential when he was younger and that never he was so, like, insular and unwilling to interact with the world at large that he just
mhm.
stayed a janitor his entire life. It's hard to tell, maybe he was something else before he was a janitor.
They
We're
say
not
that he
really given
wasn't
any
like the
detail.
brightest student at one point.
But see, that's a difference from the book because in the book he actually they say that he had a promising future. Because in the
Really?
book, this is one of the major differences between the movie and the book is that in the movie they have scenes with the janitor, right?
Mhm.
Mhm,
They those intercut throughout the film. In the book, where it intercuts between two people talking about a janitor who worked at a high school,
mm.
right? And about what happened to him and his life. And so we actually do get a backstory for him that's not in the movie, but it also seems like his backstory in the movie is not supposed to be the same as his backstory in the book. So I
Oh,
don't
hey,
think
Mhm.
we can really use it for the movie.
the ballet sequence near the end. Were the ballet versions of Young Woman and Jake, were they the people from the movie that he was watching earlier?
They might have
I
been.
think. Oh my god, I think so. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Like, I thought maybe, but I didn't. I'm terrible with faces, number one, and number two, it had been like an hour since then, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I didn't know.
It, it was just again, just felt like just
Oh,
trying to cram in.
they
Oh,
are
go
not.
ahead.
Oh, they're not?
No.
Okay.
Because like the ballet sequence, that used to be a thing they do in a lot of musicals. Like Singing in the
Mhm.
Rain had this whole extended part called Broadway Melody, where they did like a pantomime dance sequence.
Mhm.
And An
Mhm.
American in Paris had a big sequence like that. Like it used to just be a thing you'd do in movies near the end, is you'd have everybody act out the story again in like a interpretive dance form.
Mhm.
It's fallen out of favor, but apparently the one in this movie was supposed to be a reference to Oklahoma, which I've never seen. So
I've never
it
seen
was kind of lost
Oklahoma
on me.
either. Yeah, it's just again, just felt like trying to. It just felt like it was trying to be
Well,
all these different things, like cramming in the dance sequence, cramming in the singing, cramming in all the um, references to movies, references to science, references to art. It was just like
I
so
feel
much
like
going on with nowhere going with.
I feel
I
like the
don't
part
know.
with
So
the dad where he like refused to see symbolism in any of the paintings was like a
Mhm.
preemptive strike against people who didn't like the movie.
so anybody who doesn't think
It's
I'm
like you
as
just don't
intelligent as
understand
I
art.
am, yeah, you just don't understand
Apparently.
art. You're a weird British guy living in Oklahoma.
Yeah, what? Why was he British? Was that? Does the book say anything about that, or
I
did he just?
I think it was just because the actor's British. The actors, David Thewlis, has worked with Charlie Kaufman on other movies, like what was the stop motion one? Anomalisa.
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 Mhm.
There you go.
I
I can
haven't
never
seen that one.
pronounce the name of that because until I actually look at it. But
Mhm.
yeah, he played the main character in that film.
Did Kaufman
I
do
honestly
Synecdoche? Was that him?
Yes, that's his magnum opus according to critics.
I'm scared to watch that one.
It's not as scary as people claim it is.
Well, because
It's
like
really
being
weird.
adaptation is fun, and being John Malkovich is fun. You know, they're kind of like nutty, crazy movies. And then Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is, I think, the most mainstream he ever got.
Mhm.
That's a good
I like
movie.
that.
Yeah,
It is a good
and it
movie.
kind of introduced. Have you ever heard the expression "manic pixie dream girl"?
I literally just I've heard of it prior to watching this video. It was a video of I literally watched it this morning,
Oh
breaking
my
down the
gosh!
Manic Pixie Dream Girl. I swear to God, I just
Because
watched that this morning.
Clementine from Eternal Sunshine is, I think, like the perfect example of that type of character. That's the first time I remember seeing that
Um,
type of
Wait,
character.
Clementine from what?
they
Eternal
use
Sunshine, isn't that her name?
Oh, yeah.
Clementine. Yeah, so Kate Winslet's character is called Clementine.
Mhm.
No, they were saying the video I was watching. It's either her or it's either Summer from 500 Days of Summer.
Oh yeah,
That's like the
she loves
main.
the Smiths.
That's basically Zoe Deschanel's whole, like, career is based on playing those
But she's
characters.
kinda mean in 500 Days of Summer, like, the later
Oh, yeah.
versions of that character that she played were, like, there was no darker side to them, and Summer is a little bit mean.
I mean, you could argue that like, what's Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character's name?
Oh, he's a
Is it
douche.
Tom? He's not listening to her. That's the point, I think. Like, he's wrapped up in his own, like, especially when they do expectations versus reality. He's wrapped up in trying to, get what he wants without listening to what she is saying. Like, I don't want anything serious, blah blah blah, blah. And you know, the movie makes you want to empathize with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, so I would argue that I don't think she's necessarily mean, I just think the movie really is trying to make you empathize with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, and that's why we feel like we have to hate Summer at the end of it. I don't
That's
know,
true.
that's my
I
opinion on
think
it.
that Oh, wait, go ahead, Connor. Were you gonna
Oh,
say?
I was gonna say that's true. I was just gonna agree.
I was going to say that I think my biggest issue with that film on rewatch, um,
Mhm,
is mainly that we don't get much with Summer, which I understand. Like, we don't get
mhm,
much of her interiority as a human being. We
She
only
right.
likes
see
that
it
she can
through
control people with her hair. That's the only thing we get, like, before she meets
I
the guy.
I understand that the film is supposed to be through the lens of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, but I
Right.
feel like the movie would be viewed in a more positive light now because I feel like the movie's reputation has gone down over the last, like,
Yeah.
10 years. would be if we'd had an equal screen time with Zooey Deschanel's character and seen more of her like flawed human being. And then
Yeah.
the contrast with like how he wants to view her as someone she isn't, even though she repeatedly tells him, "I'm not that kind of person." And
Mhm.
he's like, "Oh, she was perfect for me." Yeah, he's kind of like the proto incel over the
In
Yeah.
2010s.
Garden State with
Uh,
Zach.
yeah, that's true. That's earlier too.
Yeah, and that's the ultimate expression because in that one, like the girl is Natalie Portman. It's
Hmm.
just
Mhm.
like at that
That
time she was
character was
every nerdy
also
boy's.
that character was also in that film in that YouTube video I watched this morning. It was that character. It was what else did they point out? Elizabethtown. I've never seen that movie,
Oh,
but
Yes,
that's the
I was
one that
gonna
the
coined the
say
term.
that
yes.
had Kirsten Dunst, who's
Mhm.
married to Jesse Plemons.
Mhm.
What? You know, I saw Kristen
Like
Dunst in person once at a bowling alley.
And I saw her nude in Melancholia.
She wasn't nude in the bowling alley. She wore clothes.
I mean, I assumed that she wasn't.
I
But no,
just
she's a great actress.
just
You know,
can we
some
just
of us
leave it?
value actresses for more than their nude scenes, Augustine.
Yes, they
I
are, but
know.
It might
but
seem strange to you.
I mainly meant that as a joke. But yes, like she was wonderful in that movie. She deserved an Oscar. But what were you saying, Jessica?
Oh, I was gonna say, I just like to remember her and Bring It On. Bring It On's a good movie. I don't care what anyone says.
I've never seen that. Is it really good?
Like, it knows what it is. So it's one of those movies like it knows what it is. So if
I
you
saw the parody of it in Not Another Teen Movie. And Not Another Teen
Mhm.
Movie is an all-time classic. Like
Yeah.
that's one of those movies where people there's no appreciation for it, but I
Mhm.
appreciate it.
I think the
Well,
only
we
oh, no, go ahead, Jessica.
no, I was gonna say, just I had this discussion with my boyfriend. We were talking about oh, we had just finished watching Paranormal Activity, and we just finished reviewing it, and he made, like, a statement saying, like, "Is it sad when there's more jump scares in the parody of Paranormal Activity?" So, I guess it's Haunted House by the Wayans brothers. There's
Wayans.
Mhm.
more jumps Wayans brothers, thank you. There's more jump scares in that, like, actual scares than the actual Paranormal Activity movie itself, which is just
There's
so
one scare in
boring.
that movie, I think. Or no, two, but they happen right after each other at the end of the whole movie.
Literally, the end of the movie is the trailer for the movie. Literally.
Like I
That's
was
it.
waiting for like spooky demon face for the whole movie. Like she's gonna look away and then she's gonna look up. It's gonna be spooky demon face, and they
Mhm,
make you wait and wait and wait.
mhm,
And that happens. It's
mhm,
over. But that's better
and
than
it's
like
over.
Blair Witch gave you literally nothing for the whole movie.
I haven't seen the original or the remake, but which one are you referencing?
The original, the one from 1997, I want to say.
Okay.
Because that one, like, literally, you never see anything. Even at the very end, they're just shaking the camera and going like, "Oh no, it's here!" It's like, what's here? I'd like to see, but no.
See, the problem with movies like that, they give me a headache, like Cloverfield. Like, it's a good movie, but, like, just
Is
watching
it
it,
though?
I
Is
think
it?
it's a good movie. The second one is better, and then the third one just, like,
God, John Goodman in that
okay.
movie, like honestly, 10 Cloverfield Lane has kind of the
Mhm.
same energy as I'm thinking of ending things.
Except, that movie had a plot and things
It
happened
had a
and
payoff.
it finished.
Yeah, stuff
I'm
was going
sorry.
somewhere. Oh, but what
I
I was gonna
sound like I'm
say,
hating on this movie. I mean, I kinda am because I felt like
it's
it was a
okay to
little
hate,
it's
but
not, like, super terrible, but it's like, I wouldn't watch it again.
saying the
Anyway,
thing about
go
Garden
ahead.
State with the Manic Pixie Dream Girl is it was Natalie Portman in Garden State as like the Dream Girl, and at
Mhm.
that time she was like in the Star Wars movies, right? So she was
Yeah.
literally like every nerdy boy's fantasy at that time. And so like this movie about like a kind of wishy-washy milquetoast boy who just kind of wanders around and just kind of through the sheer act of being there and not really doing or saying anything becomes like Natalie Portman's boyfriend.
Mhm.
Like that was the ultimate like wish fulfillment for every like introverted young nerd in like the early 2000s.
I think, and I don't know, maybe it's a stretch, but do you feel like movies like that with the manic pixie like dream girl and like the awkward dude, I guess, like kind of correlates with the I guess incels or like nice guys? Do you think that has some sort of? I feel
I
like
think
it
it
might have some.
totally
You
does
know what
because
I
the main
mean?
character is always like a nice guy, and he's just
And
such a
just an
tortured soul.
average
And
guy,
they're
yeah,
usually
tortured.
into weird things
But
that are
not even
really
that weird.
obscure.
It's like I like the Smiths.
Yeah,
I
that's
like looking at
yeah.
photographs of daffodils. You know,
It's like
Okay.
like they'll have
vaguely
like some
not
weird ass
mainstream.
interest that's like,
Yeah.
but it's like it's nothing. It's not like I build intricate models of like I don't know. I can't think of a really weird thing. It's always like I like this band from like 20 years ago. You know, I like to look at pictures. You know, it's like I like old movies. It's
I like
completely like normal shit, but they act like there's some sort of like Hunchback of Notre Dame lives in a tower, shunned by society.
That is a good movie. The Disney movie. I
Yeah, the
mean,
Disney one. Like it
it is a good
honestly, I'd only read like the children's abridged version of the book, and even then, it was
movie.
so wildly inaccurate to that.
Yeah, but
Also,
oh wait, go ahead.
I was just going to talk about ratings for movies because that was rated G. It has a song called
mhm.
Hellfire where Frollo's literally singing about his lustful thoughts.
And he
Meanwhile,
wants to rape
Frozen,
Esmeralda.
yeah, Frozen got bumped up to PG for like nothing. Like, what happened to ratings? Why can't anything be G anymore?
You have a
'Cause
bunch of rich old white ladies who live in SoCal rating. That's why.
Oh,
I
did
think
you see
it's
the
because
documentary about that? The ratings board?
which
No.
documentary?
It's called This Film Is Not Yet Rated, and ironically, the ratings board rated it NC-17. So good luck trying to see it. But yeah, it's about like how the ratings board works and how it's really a terrible system.
Well,
What was I
yeah,
gonna say?
because it's like they'll like anything with the word anything with like sex is like immediate. Like anything with like tits,
I
it's
know.
immediate.
Whereas
You
in
know.
in like back in the day, like Airplane and Barbarella are both PG rated movies with tits in them. That's a tip to any of you younger listeners out there. If you feel like seeing some tits and your parents won't let you watch an R-rated movie, Airplane,
Ooh.
Barbarella, Sheena.
Okay,
Those
but
are
that
three
was
PG
before
rated movies.
PG-13 was a thing, though.
It's true. Although,
So
no, you're right. You're 100% right. I was thinking like Sheena, I think was like right on the cusp. Barbarella was the 60s though.
oh, and there was something I was going to say about the incels, but it already slipped my mind.
Yeah, incels are
Back
forgettable
to
like that.
incel. This is. I felt like this is the back. Let's backtrack to the movie. I'm
Oh, to
thinking
the
of
movie.
ending things. Let's just say I don't know. Let's say that this movie is in the or in the mind of an incel. I'm thinking of ending things because I can't finish anything with
I mean,
society.
I'd
So.
kind of like watching if it was just actually a movie about an incel. That might be kind of fun, honestly. Just like the way the Joker
Mhm.
people thought that was going to be it, and then it was not.
No, I didn't read any articles on that, but I had seen that as as a title for an article. And I'm like, I feel like that's kind of a stretch. I
It,
feel like it's more like if we're gonna talk about like I think it more not saying incel like I mean I'm sure they do have fucking a mental disorder problem. I just thought it was a good movie on its own to like bring awareness to like the mental disorders.
It's a weird movie because it like has almost nothing to do with the actual comic book that it's supposedly based on. Like it kind
Mhm.
of throws you a bone every once in a while. Like, hey, look, it's the Waynes. It's Bruce Wayne. Oh, cool. Now he's gone. Oh, are we gonna see him again? Yeah, in an hour. And just like,
all,
what if Joker and Batman were brothers? What are they? No. Oh, why did you even bring it up then? You know, it's
yeah,
just
that was a huge waste of time.
what's
But
really
also,
weird to
like,
me. Oh yeah,
oh, I was gonna say, Joker, like, yeah, good for the whole mental illness awareness, but it's like the
Mhm.
blandest version of it. It doesn't go into specifics on anything. What does Joker
Mhm.
have?
a
Who the fuck
disorder.
knows? He just has a oh yeah,
He has a disorder or a mental illness,
he
and
has
then like
multiple disorders, but we don't know what they are.
the thing that was weird to me is well, two things. I just want to point out two things actually. First of all, after being nothing like the Batman comics for most of the movie runtime, the end of
Mhm.
it where he goes onto a talk show is like if you've ever read the Frank Miller comic The Dark Knight Returns, it's like
Mhm.
exactly a scene from that comic book where Joker's on a talk show. So it's like, why was nothing like a comic book up until now, and then you just kind of do word for word like this scene from the comic book?
The only difference is he doesn't poison everybody. He just kills
Yeah, he
the
just
host
shoots
with a
someone. So
gun.
it's like it's less interesting, but they still have like the sex doctor there, and all the same beats
Oh,
happen.
and the kissing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically just a recreation, yeah.
And then like, okay, you know how in the comic books, the movie that little Bruce Wayne was seeing when his parents got killed was Zorro?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep that in Joker because like you see little Bruce Wayne coming out of a Zorro movie. But because the movie takes place in the 80s, the only Zorro movie that came out around that time is called Zorro the Gay Blade. And it's about
Yes.
Zorro's disappointing gay son taking over as Zorro and just being generally camp and inefficient. And then, like, apparently that's the movie that little Bruce Wayne saw that inspired him to be Batman. The movie about, like, Zorro's gay son.
It's pretty
That's a
bizarre.
fun movie.
I know, but as an
I
inspiration.
know, I know.
Have
I
you
mean,
seen
is
it?
it yeah, Zora the Gay Blade, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's like, did it inspire you to fight crime? Or hypothetically, if your parents had been killed right after you saw it, do you think you would be wearing, like, a bat suit right now, like, out instead of recording a podcast?
Maybe he should be wearing, like, a pink bat suit and then change it to yellow and then gold, like, he just keeps changing his
Just go with
There
the
was
most
there was actually a
bat
Batman
suit.
story like that.
gay hero.
I'd be down for a gay Batman for sure.
It'd be
Why
more
not?
interesting than what we're
It'd be
getting.
more interesting, yeah. I am
Here we
pretty
go.
excited for
Oh,
Robert
the Batman?
Pattinson as Batman.
Yeah, but it's been delayed. Okay, I have an image
And
to send
Robert
to you.
Pattinson has coronavirus.
An image,
Fortunately.
What?
click on that, and basically the story you just came up with, it happened in the 1950s.
It's just a picture, right? 'Cause it's not letting me,
Yeah, no,
like,
it's just a
click
picture. Oh,
open.
no.
Okay, yeah.
Can you
Oh,
read
look, he has
the
all the
dialogue?
different colors.
He goes, so for our listeners, Robin is standing there, and Batman is in a bright pink bat suit, and behind him are all sorts of different colored bat suits on little dressmaker forms. And Robin goes, "But Batman, last night you wore the green costume, and tonight you're wearing the red? Why?" And it's not red, it's pink. And Batman says, "I must, Robin. I must wear a different colored Batman costume each night." And then the story is called The Rainbow Batman.
But
Yes.
why must he wear a different color
Well,
each
you're
night?
gonna have to buy the comic book to find out, Augustine, okay? It's only 10 cents, Jesus.
Adjusted for inflation.
Yeah, can we talk about how the name of the company is actually Detective Comics Comics?
Yeah, DC Comics, Detective Comics. Yep,
Yeah.
Like
that's
people who say
unfortunate.
ATM machine.
Yeah, except they officially say that.
The
It's just
ATM machine.
ATM.
Go into the
It's
AT
just
machine, you sound like a
The
crazy person.
automated teller machine.
Yeah. Or PIN number, personal identification number. It's like there's no way out when you go to the ATM. There's no way out.
Alright, well, back to the film.
Yes, the film.
Yes, I'm
Does not
sorry, I feel like
feature
we keep getting
Batman, which
off
does not
track.
feature Batman,
I
unfortunately.
mean, would it be a
It would
better film if it featured Batman? That's an
I was
important and
just
valid
gonna
question.
say, wouldn't it spice it up even more? We already got nowhere to go, so sorry, go ahead, August.
Alright, so I don't even know what I was gonna say anymore.
Well, how about the basement? The mysterious basement and like
Oh, another example of not going anywhere.
but then his janitor uniforms were there in the
That's
washing
what made
machine.
me think that Jake was the janitor, like,
I
when
thought
the
the janitor was
suits
the dad. Didn't you think that when it started?
when it first
No,
started, yes. I
I didn't
thought, like,
view
when
it.
they got when they got there, 'cause
Is the
it made
house
it
that he
seem like
leaves from the same as the one that his parents live in?
doesn't it seem like it? I think
I
so.
think
I
it
mean,
is.
god damn it, I really don't wanna rewatch it
Oh
just to
no.
see
I've got a
that.
visitor on my desk right now. I've got a cat here. I don't know if he's gonna make any noise that will be picked up.
In my
It's
rewatches,
fine.
I think it is supposed to be the same house, he never left. Um, but yeah, also, if I didn't know that the whole thing was just a nightmare, I would have thought that when she finds the janitorial equipment, it was going to be like a reveal that, Jake was lying about his profession and that he was just a
Mhm.
janitor, and all the stuff with the janitor are, like, decades later when he's remembering murdering this girl.
I mean, it
or her
kinda
dying
is
in an
that,
accident.
except he's not really remembering anything.
Yeah, and also she never died because he doesn't even know what happened to her. He just met her at a bar, and by met, I mean he saw her. She was just a random person.
Yeah.
At like when the parents do finally come, like when we first see the parents, and Tony Collette, and then you guys brought up like why does he have an English accent? And then like when I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, these are not his real parents. They're gonna
See,
fucking eat her. Like I just went to like he's gonna fucking sacrifice her to because just the way that Tony Collette was talking and then looked at Jake and then just like kept stammering and like looking at her with such like they were looking at her with such intensity. Like again, I thought they were gonna fucking eat her or something.
did you
And then
ever
it
see
just
or hear of an M. Night Shyamalan movie called The Visit?
Oh, with the old people?
Yeah, have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen it, but I've already been spoiled on
Okay,
it.
so
Yeah.
So
spoilers to everybody listening to the podcast. They go to visit their grandparents, these 2 kids do, and they're told, "Don't go into the basement, there's black mold in the basement." And then their grandparents are really weird, and then eventually, like, their mom video calls them and is like, "Those aren't your grandparents." And then they go into the basement, and the real grandparents' dead bodies are down there. And when she was told not to go into the basement, I really thought that's where this was going, you know?
mhm.
Like, there was
Wait,
gonna be
what?
bodies
Well,
in the
that
basement,
No, but what did you well, yeah, that seems like an easy assumption, but do you
and that
think
they
they
weren't the
were,
real
like
parents, like you were
but
saying,
then why wouldn't Jake know?
because he's in on it. Like, this isn't even his parents'
yeah, because
house,
he's
this is just
in
some
on it.
random person's
Yeah.
house that they've,
Yeah, that it was just a murder, right? Like, they were gonna kill her and eat
like,
her?
Mhm.
honestly, if it was just a murder, like, I don't know, like, that might not have been a great movie either, but I would have felt more fulfilled. Also, I've just shared with you
Yeah.
the Merman Batman. You see, in this, riveting tale, Batman loses the ability to breathe oxygen, but gains the ability to breathe underwater, which impedes his ability to fight crime because now he has to live inside of a glass tank full of water, if you see there in the illustration.
Yes, I see
You
it.
know what I think Charlie Kaufman should have done? He should have had because all this is imaginary, right?
Yeah.
There should have
Yeah.
been, like, a hallucinatory sequence where that is the reveal, and then she just wakes up again, and she's like, "What?" But she's just at the dinner table, like, she's spaced out, and she was imagining it, and we saw it on screen.
Well, like,
Right.
have you ever seen Audition?
Yes.
Yeah, like, that was all a dream, I think, maybe? It really wasn't clear.
No, I don't think so. I think that so spoilers for Audition. So
Spoilers!
when the main character is being tortured at the end by his girlfriend because it turns out
Mhm.
she's insane, um,
Right.
he blacks out from the pain so hard that he imagines that they're just in bed after having sex, and he's like, "Oh boy, that was a terrible nightmare." And then it just cuts back to the torture. So that was just a hope spot as far as I'm aware. I mean, you can
Well, but
interpret it
it
as
ends with him meeting her for the first time and being freaked out by her. Like, it ends with it flashes back even further at the end.
I feel like that's just imaginary though.
Well, it doesn't really tell us that, it's up to the viewer to interpret.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's up to the viewer
But,
in
like,
the
if it
end.
was, then, like, nothing in the movie actually happens, so what's the point?
So you think that it was him imagining what happens if I go through with my scheme to trick a
Yeah.
bunch of women
Oh,
into
because
thinking
the
it's an
scheme of the
audition?
movie Audition, Jessica, is have you seen it?
No.
Yeah?
No, I have
Oh,
not
no, I
seen
thought
it.
you said yeah. This guy, he's a movie producer, and he's lonely, so he invents a fake part and holds auditions, but he's really looking for a girlfriend.
Why does this sound like a bad porno?
Well, it starts off like a terrible romantic comedy, but then it turns out the girl he picks is like a psycho who kidnaps and tortures him. And her last
Mhm.
boyfriend like had his tongue cut out, and she keeps him like a dog, and she feeds him like a. She vomits into a dish and puts it on the ground, and he has to eat it. He has to crawl in on his hands and knees and eat it with no tongue. And I think he's missing his
Ugh.
hands too. Is he missing his hands, Augustine?
I think he's missing all of his limbs.
Yeah, but that's the last boyfriend, and she like cut off his limbs and tongue and keeps him as like a
Well,
pet.
no, the idea is that supposedly that guy is the man who, like her stepfather, right?
Oh,
That
is
was
that
the
what that
idea.
was? I thought that was her
No, no,
ex-boyfriend.
that's what we're told originally, I think, and then it's revealed that no, that's just her last victim, and she keeps making her victims into a version of her stepdad. So every time she's killing these men, it's her really trying to get revenge again on the man who, abused her as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
disturbing
trippy.
film.
Yeah,
I would
Japanese
say it's
film.
a better
Takeshi
movie than
Miike.
this.
Yeah, Takeshi Miike directed it. He's got a interesting body of work. He did the film version of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, and he also did the film version of Yatterman. So he's like the only director working today who does good anime-based movies.
Mm.
And he also, weirdly enough, this is fun. He did a version of Django, the Western movie, and Quentin Tarantino was in it. And this was a good, I want to say, 5 years before Quentin Tarantino did his version of Django. So it's like, Quentin, you were in a Django movie before. Is that where you got the idea to do a Django movie? And Quentin's just like, I'll never tell.
Show me your foot.
You also forgot that he did JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4,
Oh, right.
Part
Yeah.
1.
Diamond is
Okay,
Unbreakable?
Yeah.
can somebody explain that? Like,
Oh,
I
no, we'll
don't
be
know.
here
I
all
haven't
night.
No, just explain like why it's coming back into popularity because
Oh,
I've never heard
well,
of
in
such a
There
thing
Japan,
wasn't
it's
an
always
until.
been
anime. There wasn't
popular.
an anime before. There was just a manga, and
No,
then they
there
did like
Mm.
they
there
did a direct-to-video anime, but
yeah,
it wasn't
they did 2 direct-to-video
right. But it
OVAs
wasn't like a series on TV until recently, and that's why
until
it's become
2012.
Okay.
popular now.
2011, 2012, something like that.
Yeah, because it was just a manga and then like a couple OVAs, and then they made an actual TV show adaptation.
Got it. Okay, because like sometimes I'll see that in my Instagram feed because on my Instagram feed it's like Gorillas, the band, gay shit, Steven Universe shit, cartoon shit, and then like Black Lives Matter and like climate change stuff. That's my Instagram feed, folks. And I'll see that and I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I keep seeing it in my feed.
Steven Universe actually references JoJo.
Does it? Okay, maybe
Yeah,
that's the connection then.
there's a part where this guy is trying to punch another guy, and the guy keeps blocking him every time and goes useless over and over again. It's a famous scene because it's very silly. And
Mhm.
the part where Garnet is fighting Water Garnet in the episode Ocean Gem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is like a direct like visual reference to that scene from JoJo. So that might be
Okay.
the in point that got the JoJo into your feed, because like the people that
Okay.
like Steven Universe see the JoJo, and then but like
Got
very
it. Got it.
briefly, it's like multi-generational. It's every generation of the Joestar family has a member who's named like Josephine or Josuke or John, and they're called JoJo for short. And just
Okay.
every generation of the family ends up fighting some supernatural evil, which is often the original JoJo's adopted brother Dio, who's a vampire, but sometimes just some other random thing. And eventually they start fighting evil with like these creatures that like are manifestations of their psychic energy, but basically are like weird monsters that do the fighting for them, kind of like Pokemon,
Mhm.
except they
Mhm.
look like muscle men.
And they're invisible
And
to
they're invisible to like
anybody
non-stand users. They're
who
called
doesn't
stands.
understand.
So if you have the
Mm.
psychic energy to manifest one, you're called a stand user, and they're called stands. And like basically all of them have weird esoteric superpowers. So like the episodes will be like, well, this guy can like, I don't know, balance 7 spinning plates on one finger. So we have to trick him into accidentally putting 8 plates on his finger, and then he'll drop them and die. That's not a real episode, but it could be. Like that's the type of
All
thing that
right.
happens. It's just like it's weird. Like one episode is like I put a bunch of water in this glass, and we each take turns throwing quarters in, and whoever causes the water to overflow, I guess dies. I don't know. It's full of like really dumb situations that they have to get out of using their
Sounds like
incredibly specific powers.
quarters roulette. That's funny.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
yeah.
So
The Charlie
I
Kaufman film, I'm
feel
thinking of ending
I
things.
know, right? Like
Are
we
you
keep
thinking of ending
trying.
things right now?
Right? I'm thinking of ending things like just like how this podcast is going. We're just all over the place.
Well, I mean, isn't that the joy of a podcast? Can I share
The
with you
tangents we go on.
can I share with you one more strange Batman before we go?
Augustine?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so
Why
we've
not?
seen so far the Rainbow Batman and the Mermaid Batman. Now I present to you the Alien Batman. So, Vicky Vale, who is Batman's version of Lois Lane. Like, seriously, they hired the Superman editor to work on the Batman comics, and he just invented a Lois Lane analog.
Wow,
She's taking a
lazy.
photograph of Batman greeting an alien, and Batman's taking off his mask to reveal that he is, and apparently always has been, an alien. And Vicky Vale is like, Batman isn't an Earthman at all. He's from another world. And man, that's a pretty crazy situation. I bet you'd like to buy that comic book, find out what happens, huh?
So, do you think Jake has all these Batman comics in his childhood bedroom?
He might. I love how it was labeled Jake's childhood bedroom.
Well, I was trying to pause when she was looking at the books, like, because the bunch of labels, like the dog, like
Oh
Jimmy.
yeah, that was something.
Yeah,
Like you see the urn for the dog, and it like really tantalizingly pans across it multiple times, but never lingers on it. And I'm like, come on, guys.
right.
Like they
And
know
then
you saw it.
exactly. And then if you looked even further, it was like final like, oh god, it's can I pull it up? Can I like cheat code myself to remember what was on the bookshelf? It was like memories of this, final memories of this, and hold on, if I find it, I'll put it in the chat. But yeah, Augustine, any further points about the movie?
About the film?
Yeah,
The
or
film.
just anything we can continue on with.
Well, let me think. Okay. Um, so which Charlie Kaufman's movies have both of you watched?
I've seen Eternal
I don't,
Sunshine, adaptation, being John Malkovich, and this one, and
okay, I've seen Eternal Sunshine. I don't know I don't know what he directs.
Have you
Yeah, I was gonna say you're gonna have to
have you
start.
seen Being John Malkovich?
No.
Okay, that's also on Netflix, and I would recommend that movie. It's one of his more mainstream movies, even though it's extremely weird. But adaptation. Have you seen that movie with Nicolas Cage?
I don't think so.
Okay, Synecdoche, New York.
Synecdoche.
Okay.
No. I think I've only seen Eternal Sunshine. I thought was mine.
I mean, that's
Right.
his most mainstream movie, I think, because it's kind of
Yeah.
just a fun romantic comedy.
Mhm.
I wouldn't
Like,
say fun exactly, but
it's
yes, it is a
fun. Also, the
romantic
part where the mom
drama.
is like wearing a 1960s dress, in I'm Thinking of Ending Things, kind of reminds me of the part where you flash back to the main character's childhood in Eternal Sunshine, and Clementine is wearing like a 1960s dress, and she's got like go-go boots.
Okay, hidden details you missed. Okay, I'm trying to pull up a better. It just does not have a good picture of the bookshelf. Sorry, continue. I'm just talking out
Well, no,
loud.
the 1960s clothes, because you remember when the mom is like in 60s attire and is much younger for like one scene,
Uh-huh.
and then like the scene of Eternal Sunshine where I think that's just like Charlie Kaufman's idea of what a mom looks like, because like the mom in Eternal Sunshine looked like that too.
Okay, so out of the films
Oh yeah.
that you have watched, which one do you think is the better Charlie Kaufman film?
I'd say Eternal Sunshine is probably the best movie, but the one that most exemplifies Charlie Kaufman, probably Malkovich.
Yeah, and that was his debut.
Ironically, he didn't direct that one, but still.
Nope, and most people forget that Spike Jonze directed that one.
It's not a good picture, but if you can zoom in on it, here, I'll see if I can share it. Copy. Can I fit it in here? Will it work? Oh, cool. If you can zoom in on it,
Let
Mm-hmm.
me give it a
like
try. Are you hearing background
the
from my side here?
I am,
Yeah,
yeah.
a bit.
This is a problem. One sec.
I was trying to pause it on Netflix, but for some reason, like the Netflix like darkened it out, so I couldn't like read it. But like the things in red, it was like forgettable mishap and abandoned friendships. Like I just thought like it was just adding on to now we're just totally like going into getting rid of our psyche. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
You know, because again, I
Okay.
was like, "Are we into the paranormal? Is this not real?" Because the dog doesn't seem real. The parent, like when we were in that scene, it just didn't. None of them seemed like real people. Like those were his real parents or whatever. But then it was just taking the turn of like, oh, we're going back. And then I thought, wait a minute, are Jake and Lucy? Because I thought her name was fucking Lucy. Are we
I mean,
just
the movie
watching that?
told you her name was Lucy.
I
You can't
know,
be blamed
right?
for that.
I was
It's
like,
like the
are
movie's
we
like,
gonna
this is Lucy. Oh, it's Lucy. No, fuck you. She's not. What a dumbass for believing me. And you're like, no.
I was like, "Oh, are we watching them being older? Like, are they the mom and dad?" It was just the whole movie is just so confusing.
Yeah, I view the movie as like every character is just an extension of Janitor Jake.
Mhm.
It reminds
Like,
me.
wait, go ahead.
Oh, in 2001, where like David Bowman is eating, and then he hears a noise and he looks over and like his old self. Or I think he's just standing there and he looks over and like his old self is there eating.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen 2001?
Mhm.
I have.
Yeah, that's I can't in good conscience recommend it because it's very long and very slow, but it's got some fun stuff in it. And also Tech from Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door was a reference to the evil computer from that movie, the HAL 9000.
Mm.
Yeah. I know
We'll see.
I took us way back there, but it really reminded me of that because he's like standing in this room and he hears a noise and he looks over and he sees himself as an old man. And it's the same type of thing where it's like when you go from room to room, people are different ages.
I wouldn't I don't like that it's calling it a horror.
I feel like that's blatant misadvertising, false
For
advertising.
this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's blatant false advertising. I think that the trailer portrays it as a different kind of horror film.
Mm.
Yeah, I would
But
describe
isn't
this
that
as
still misleading though?
no, I would describe this as a horror film in well, no, the trailer's misleading, but the movie
Mm.
itself, I would still describe as a horror film in that it's more in the vein of something like David Lynch's horror films.
Well, even his horror films are actually scary sometimes. Like those weird monsters from Mulholland Drive.
Yeah, true. But would you describe Mulholland Drive as a horror film?
Oh, that's true. That's a bit of a stretch. I mean, what even is that he's done as a horror film? Because like Twin Peaks has kind of elements of horror, but it's not really scary.
Well, I think the last episode of the series, of season 2 rather, was pretty horrific
Season two with
overall.
the Black Lodge.
The original ending of the
Yeah,
show.
and then he rams his head against the glass. He's like, "Where's Annie?" And then we
Well,
never
that part
find
not
out where
yeah.
Annie was. We never find out.
Well, I know where she is, but I had to read a book.
If you have to read that's what I was going to say because you were referencing the book of I'm thinking of ending things a lot. If you have to read a book, then that's a sign that the people making the movie didn't do their job.
Well,
Like,
I don't think that's an issue with this film because Charlie Kaufman has said that the book is a nice framework to like okay, it's fine to be familiar with the book before watching the movie, but he basically just took the idea from the book and made his own movie. That's why Oklahoma is not in the book. The ending is completely different.
Mm.
Various things like there are scenes that are exactly from the book, and then there are other things that change what's going on. Like maybe not what's
Mm.
going on, but rather how you're supposed to interpret things or what the actual meaning of the film is, quote
well, at
unquote.
least
Actual
it's
meaning.
a more accurate adaptation than adaptation was, ironically.
But that movie was basically making fun of the fact that it's not an accurate adaptation.
Right. For Jessica's benefit and our listeners, the story of adaptation is about Charlie Kaufman himself, played by Nicolas Cage, and he's
Mm.
been tasked with adapting the nonfiction book *The Orchid Thief*, about a man who steals orchids and sells them. And
Mhm.
he finds that there's not really a story there. So the story is about him trying to come up with a way to make the Orchid Thief nonfiction book into an exciting story, and his twin brother writing a serial killer thriller. He doesn't really have a twin brother, and it's about him struggling to adapt this book. But what happened in reality was he had been given this book to adapt, did not have any ideas, and then wrote this instead and turned it in, which shows that he has gargantuan balls.
Oh, he doesn't give a shit. Did you read the original ending of being John Malkovich?
No, what happens in it?
In the original last 30 minutes of that film, everything was the same up until the point that John Cusack's character jumps into John Malkovich and basically decides I'm going to stay here permanently, right?
Uh-huh.
What would have happened is that instead of him making John Malkovich into a famous puppeteer, right? The whole idea is that he was going to say, "No, I am." What was his character's name in that movie?
I don't remember.
Okay, he's like, "I am so and so, and I am puppeteering John Malkovich," and he becomes famous because he's puppeteering John Malkovich. And then it would have turned out that the cult of people who are trying to possess John Malkovich permanently from the regular movie, right? From the film that came out,
Yeah.
they're actually worshiping Satan. And Satan shows up, and there's this whole thing where John Malkovich, being controlled by John Cusack's character, goes into a puppeteering duel with a different puppeteer. And if he loses, he needs to retire, which involves not being John Malkovich anymore. And so
The name of the movie.
there's a massive Harry S. Truman puppet that's on fire. And then the devil was going to show up and possess John Malkovich, which was actually the plan all along. And then John Malkovich would take over the world. And that would have been the
That's
end of the movie. He was
that's a
gonna he
story.
was gonna be possessed by Satan and take over the planet.
Poor
Oh,
John
and
Malkovich.
Lottie, Cameron Diaz's character, was going to fall in love with their chimp.
That's a strange
They
direction.
were going to kiss.
Charlie Kaufman's a weird guy.
He is. You haven't even read his book yet.
I don't plan to.
His book is bizarre as hell. Like, it's interesting, but it's stranger than anything he's ever done, as far as I'm concerned. It's 900 pages of madness.
I think at a certain point, um, you have to make sense, you know? Like, if you're gonna write over 100 pages, have a point. Make
Well,
sense.
well, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm saying it's weird as fuck. Because the book makes sense. It's just weird, incredibly weird. And the title of the book, Antkind, has to do with the final section, and it's insane.
What
So I
happens in the final
recommend go
section?
to your local library, read the book, and then think, "Wow, this dude has massive cojones."
He does. He does. Oh, speaking of, they talk about David Foster Wallace in the movie, and I feel like that's probably deliberate on the part of Kaufman. I think he finds a kindred spirit in Foster Wallace.
Is it because neither of them shave properly?
Partly, but also because both of them write exceedingly long stories that are just kind of weird for the sake of weird.
Well, at least Charlie Kaufman doesn't beat women, as far as I'm aware.
I was not aware of that about David Foster Wallace.
Yeah, he was really abusive.
That's kind of a downer.
That's a bigger downer than the film.
I don't think I'm gonna read Infinite Jest now. I mean, I wasn't gonna before, but now I'm definitely not gonna.
Ah, it's overrated anyway.
I feel like if you read a book that's over 1,000 pages, you have to convince yourself that you liked it, because otherwise you have to admit to yourself that you wasted
Hours
all
of your
that time.
life.
Like I read Les Miserables as a kid, and I
Mhm.
remember liking it. I don't know if you know that book's like 1,500 pages long, and I
Mhm.
feel like I had to believe that I liked it because I spent so much time reading it.
It's okay if you don't like it.
Yeah. Well, Count of Monte Cristo, that book's like 2,100 pages long, and
Mm.
I really did enjoy that. That's a fun book. But they make it into movies that are like less than 2 hours. It's like, no, the book's 2,000 pages. There's not it
Mhm.
needs to be a TV show or something.
Mhm. Yep, that's the only proper way to adapt that novel.
Les Mis,
Um,
I feel like, has enough fat to trim that you could fit into 2 hours.
Yeah, it feels like the kind of book that you write because you're being paid by the word.
You know, the real irony is that it wasn't serialized and he wasn't paid by the word. He just had a lot to say. Victor Hugo.
And then with like Hunchback of Notre Dame, it's just a lot of descriptions of the environment of the buildings.
Apparently, the purpose of that book was to try and get the cathedral recognized as a landmark and
Hmm.
encourage preservation, which is why it is mostly architectural descriptions. You know, a
And it
sort of
worked.
it did. The sort of fun thing is that the book is not called Hunchback of Notre Dame in France. It's just called Notre Dame de Paris because it's just about the cathedral. And the Hunchback is not a really big part of the story, but he was the most memorable part.
Oh yeah, the book, it's literally like it's so many pages on the architect of the cathedral itself.
And the Disney movie said, "Fuck all that."
What I love is the
Well,
Disney
no, the
movie.
Disney movie is like an adaptation of an adaptation of an adaptation of and so
Uh-huh.
It
on and
kind of all
so
Yeah.
goes back
forth.
to the Lon Chaney silent film version is the closest analog to the Disney version. But
Mm.
even then, like what I love is the main character of the book, the poet that marries Esmeralda. He's not even in the Disney movie. Like he's the
Mm.
main guy in the book, and he doesn't even show up.
Yeah, if you've watched Lindsay Ellis, she does a really good video on the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, she's great.
I
I really
I love
loved
watching
her
her
video
videos.
on Phantom of the Opera.
Oh yeah, I saw that
Yeah.
recently too. It was pretty good. I'm so glad that she's not associated with Nostalgia Critic, that she wasn't associated with him for years. Because Nostalgia Critic sucks.
He does. He
Not even a
does.
hot take. He just sucks.
Hey, you want to hear a hot take
Uh,
that I have? It's a video game hot take.
What's the hot take?
The Famicom, the Japanese version of the NES, was a better design than the American NES. It was
Is
better.
that actually a hot take? The only thing I disagree with on my end is I don't like the fact that the controllers were built in. They were too short,
Yeah, I can see that, but I mean,
but it
it
was
came with
better
2 controllers and one had a microphone, and then it had the expansion port, and also it's so small. Why was the NES so goddamn big?
because
Like,
they thought Americans love big things. If it's small, they won't buy it. That was the thing. That's the thinking.
and then the fucking Zero Force insertion slot is so dumb because every single NES has broken because of that stupid shit. Like, you need the top loader.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It's because they didn't want it to look like an Atari. That was the whole thing. They were scared of people thinking it was like an Atari. This has been Gaming Hot Takes with Connor.
Gaming hot takes while we discuss
Jessika,
Charlie Kaufman.
Jessika, do you have a hot take you'd like to share with us?
um, this movie kind of sucked.
Is that a hot take though? I know this has
Ooh,
like
I've burned myself on
this has
Jessica's take.
80%, right? On Rotten Tomatoes, something like that. I
It
feel
has a
like
Could could
what?
could could I get some milk, please? Because the heat from this take, it's too
I
much.
I feel like a lot of critics love this movie, but I don't think the general public cares.
Critics are
Okay,
notoriously out
again,
of touch.
agreed. Like, I hate referring to Hereditary because people did like critics liked it, and I guess some movie, but like I was
I've never
watching
seen
the.
Hereditary. Why don't you tell me a little bit about it?
I would just before she says anything, I did actually like Hereditary, but I understand why
Mhm.
people don't like it.
What's it about?
It's I'm not good at explaining it, but it's basically it's about this family and the grandmother dies and there are some like ifs between like the mom and the grandma and just the family, the mom in particular. They're all going through the trauma. That's all I'm gonna really that's the plot. I don't know
And
if you want spoilers, but I
I mean,
just
does something interesting happen? Because if so, please spoil it.
so
Go ahead,
so
Augustine.
so Jessica, I'm going to just add on that the
Mhm.
trailers to the film made it seem like the daughter, there was something wrong with her, right?
Yeah.
Because they really try to portray her as like there's something off with her, you know, like a little
Yeah.
bit physically, maybe a little bit mentally, there's something off with her. Like she likes
Mhm.
cutting the heads off of pigeons. with scissors, like whether they're alive or dead, she'll do it, and it's just creepy and weird.
Yeah.
And so it starts off as like a family drama, right?
Yeah.
With the trauma from the grandmother did some weird shit, and the
Mhm.
mother is just like I feel kind of bad about my mother dying, but I also feel like she wasn't a very
Such
good person.
relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then there's the main issue is involves the teenage son, right? He
Mhm.
ends up going to a party, and then bad things happen at the party. And that's
Yeah.
all I'm spoiling of that movie, but it doesn't go supernatural eventually.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say
And
my hot take is that you guys didn't really sell Hereditary to me.
Well,
good
how do you
because
want
it
me to
will.
sell the movie to you? Like, you want me to actually spoil? Because I'm just telling you what
I'm
the
not
trailers are
sure because it
telling
doesn't
people.
sound like a very anyway.
I'm telling
Okay,
you right now, the
okay, fuck
trailer
it.
is
Let's go
more
with all spoilers.
interesting
Yeah, go ahead
than.
and
No,
spoil
see
me.
the trailers are the trailer is more interesting because it's just intercutting a bunch of weird imagery with
Mhm.
no context. So what ends up happening is that the daughter herself is obviously off, and obviously she's disturbed if she's like killing birds, right? Okay,
Is
Mhm.
she an
the
adult
real
or is she a
no,
teenager?
she's like
They're
14 or something.
teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The brother's a little older, probably like 17 or something.
Mhm.
Or 18, but still like about to graduate high
In high
school.
school. Yeah.
And so what happens is that the mother for Tony Collette's character forces the brother to take the girl to this party, right? And he says, "Oh, it's just going to be like a regular party." But obviously there's like alcohol and marijuana. And
Oh, no,
so
it's supposed to be like a hangout, like,
yeah,
just
it's
to hang
something like
out.
that. And then but it turns out it's actually a party. And so he leaves her unattended, and she has a nut allergy. So she eats some brownies with nuts in them. So he's like, "Oh shit, I can't call the hospital because I'm gonna get in trouble. I'll fix this myself and just take her, right?" Right?
Mhm.
So they're driving, and she ends up putting her the daughter, the sister ends up putting her head out the window, and she fucking hits an electrical pole, and her head goes flying. So she's dead,
That was
right?
actually very interesting. That
Oh
was
no.
That's where the
that was
movie
like,
actually becomes the movie that it's
that's
actually about.
yeah, and
Is after
then,
is when that girl dies. So the trailers are trying to portray it like she was gonna be like the source of evil in the film. No, she dies
but
halfway
no,
through, like
she
a
dies.
little less than halfway through. And the rest of the movie is about like them dealing with the trauma. And
Mhm.
the mother is like, "Oh my god, like I still love my son, but I also blame him for the death of my daughter." And the father is just kind of like, he's obviously fucked up about it, but he tries not to show it. And the son feels super guilty about everything. But then the movie takes another turn when this woman that the mother met at a meeting about abusive parents ends up like telling her like, "Hey, oh wait, was it about the abusive parents, or did they meet about the
It was just about grieving
grieving
dead.
family members? Yeah, grieving death."
Mm.
And she's like, "Hey, I know about seances and shit, right? Let's do a seance."
You told
And
me it didn't
Mhm.
go supernatural.
no, I said it does go supernatural.
No, it does go
Oh, I
supernatural.
completely misunderstood. I was
No,
like,
no, I said it goes supernatural eventually.
I'm over here like this movie will never go supernatural, and then I'm just like,
So what ends up happening is they do the seance, and apparently they do contact the spirit of the daughter, and then the mother's just obsessed with the idea of like, "Oh, let's keep contacting my daughter." But then it turns out that they contacted a demon, and that the grandmother was actually the head of a witch coven, and that the woman who told her about the seance thing,
Was
she's
part
also a
of it.
witch. Yeah, they're part of a cult, and they're trying to have the daughter's soul possess because the daughter, when she was an infant, the grandmother did a ritual on her so that she was supposed to be the vessel for their demon.
just
Their
like Princess Peach in the Thousand Year Door.
Yeah, she's supposed to be the Shadow Queen, right? Just like in Thousand Year Door. So what ends up but the thing
It's
is that
all connected.
the demon only operates properly in a male body.
Then why did they want to use the daughter as a vessel?
Again, just
No, they essentially were going to do a ritual where it would guarantee it would be a son, right? But
But it didn't work.
the mother, Toni Collette's character, was like, "What the fuck are you doing with my daughter?" And she just completely disconnected from her mother, and so she didn't get to do the ritual, and she was born a daughter. And the reason why she was off is because she's possessed by a demon, like she has some of that essence in her, but it's not being properly channeled because she's in a female body. And so now they're trying to have the dead daughter possess the brother.
the
Eh,
demon, really,
yeah,
but yeah.
yeah,
Oh, wait, the
essentially.
daughter was a demon the whole time? The daughter
Mm,
always was a demon?
no, essentially, I think they're going off the idea of the daughter is coexisting with the demon possessing her,
Okay.
right? Like
So it's
it's
like
living
The Odd
inside of her.
Couple, but with a human and a demon. And instead of sharing an
Eh,
apartment, they're sharing a body.
basically. But what ends up happening is that Toni Collette's character gets possessed. She saws her own head off, and her headless corpse is flying around trying to kill her son.
Oh my god, it's
See, this
just
all
That
sounds
part
much
was
more
insane.
interesting than it's about like trauma when a grandmother dies. Like
No, that's what it turns into in the last
you could
12
have just
minutes.
said it's a demon possession movie, and I would have been like, "Oh, it's a demon possession movie." You see how
But it's
there's
not
a there's
about the
a
demon possession until the last like 12 minutes.
there's a
So
exactly.
most
It's
of the
just
movie is about the family drama.
it's so long. I
Then it turns
swear.
out the grandmother was into demons. So there you go.
At the last minute. At
Oh,
the
and the
last minute.
grandmother's corpse was in the attic the whole time, and she's headless too, and she was also flying around. And the father gets throws an evil book in the fireplace, but instead of the book being damaged, it causes him to ignite and he dies.
oh no.
Yeah, and then the film ends with main character, well, now last survivor of the family, the son,
The
running
sun.
away, and he ends up being surrounded by a bunch of naked people who are part of the cult.
How does he end up like that?
Oh no. He basically I think he falls out the window and that he breaks his
No, no,
neck and
no,
he dies.
no. See
And
that?
then the
No,
no,
go
not
ahead.
yet.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Jessica.
and then the demon gets to take over the body now because the son who I don't know, I guess the son's soul is no longer in the body, so the demon gets to take over the body. I don't even know.
No, I don't think.
Um,
No, he didn't die. What happened is that earlier in the film, there's like a
mm,
weird light that keeps following him. Right? It's like I don't know. It's like scanning the environment almost. And he was actually starting to get possessed earlier in the film at the school. That's why he injured
mhm.
himself, and I think he broke his nose or something.
Yeah,
But what happens is that he's running away from his mother's corpse that's trying to kill him, right? Or
Hmm.
trying to
mhm,
like capture him. And so he goes
yeah.
into the attic, and when he goes into the attic, he finds that the cult's already waiting for him, and he freaks out and jumps out a window, and then when he falls unconscious, and that's when the demon spirit possesses his body. And then he gets crowned king by the cult.
I just think it's really dumb.
Yeah, it went pretty crazy.
So I'm guessing that critics like it because they feel like there's a vegetables dessert thing going on with movies. I have to see dramatic scenes of people being, tense with each other for however much time before I can see a fun scene of demons. And the fun demon ratio to boring drama scene in this movie seems like it's pretty high on the boring drama and pretty low on the fun demon.
That sounds
Like,
about
and
right.
don't get me wrong, it's everyone acted very well. It was produced very well, but that doesn't mean it makes it a good movie.
So you got to eat your dramatic vegetables before you can have your exciting demon action scene.
That's pretty much it. It was like, did you want a prize? Did you want a prize that you sat all the way through boring, boring, boring 2 hours and then the last 12 minutes we get something
Well,
and that was rushed and it was dumb?
I was just thinking, like, the recent Picard show that they did.
Yeah, Star
Mm,
Trek Picard.
Yeah,
Heard
it
about
was
it.
like basically Picard is a sad old man and he's disillusioned. And he's really angry about everything, and it's like Sir Patrick Stewart, the actor, was kind of in charge of a lot of the story, and then like
mhm.
Logan, it's like all the X-Men are dead and it's a post-apocalypse and everybody's really sad and stuff. I feel like actors want to play those sad roles. They want to play the roles like, oh, I'm so tortured with anguish. And they don't care that in order to do that, they have to kill all of the X-Men off screen. And maybe X-Men fans won't be, happy about that because they got to play sad. So like, don't trust actors who want to do dramatic scenes to be in charge of the story
Just
because
don't
they will
trust
just
actors to be in charge of the story at all.
they'll just fuck with you so they can have a scene where they get to be sad, even if it means killing off the characters that people liked.
Then do a one-man show and call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, like, did we really need all of Starfleet to secretly be evil just so that Sir Patrick Stewart could like make an anguished face and be like, "Look at me, I'm acting."
That was the dumbest shit, along with Picard caring so much about Data. Like,
And they
yeah,
were
he
friends,
respected
but
him, but they were friends, but it wasn't like he acts like they were lovers or something.
he thought Data was dead in one episode, and he was fine. He's just like, "No more
Yeah.
Data."
He
Like he
acts
wasn't
like
happy about it.
the way he acts about Data is almost like if this story was actually about Geordi remembering his
He
dead
didn't even
friends.
seem to like. Oh, you mean Geordi was Picard? I thought you meant that Picard was
No,
remembering
no, that's what
Geordi.
I'm saying is that no, I'm saying that the way they wrote the relationship between Picard and Data, like how much Picard misses Data, is almost like if the show was about Geordi,
I
you
would
know?
watch a show about Geordi.
Yeah, I would watch that too. It'd be more
Everybody loves
interesting
LeVar
because
Burton.
I'm fine with Picard just being retired. And then okay, so you know the ending, right? Can we just
I
go
haven't seen it.
spoilers?
I got
Oh,
mad
do
and
you
at the
care
premise.
because it fucking sucks? Like,
No,
do
just
you,
tell me.
okay, so at the end of the
Oh, spoilers for
show,
Picard.
spoilers for Picard.
Spoilers for
Yep,
Picard. Stop
spoilers for
listening,
Picard.
everybody.
But it's so bad, don't that shouldn't dissuade you, okay?
It deserves to be
And
spoiled.
you may already know how stupid it is, okay? So essentially, Picard meets a version of Data, like his data is still stored somewhere,
Is
and
it
he
played by
decides
star of stage and screen Brent Spiner?
yes, he is. But obviously he looks way older and it doesn't make much
Well,
sense
Data
because
ages. They say that on the show.
but Data's been dead for like years. How the fuck is he aging in a VR sim? Okay, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. So they have a conversation, then Data dies because he's like, Picard, I'm
What
gonna just
again?
he just tells him to delete him permanently. So deletion is permanent. And then at the end of the show, Picard sacrifices himself, right? And he's really injured, and you know how he had his heart condition. So he dies.
His heart
But
condition was the
thankfully,
lack of a heart.
yeah.
His heart condition
But
is that he has none.
is that he has like a little machine. But so essentially what happens is that Picard's consciousness is transferred into an identical android body. And this android body can also age. So he gets to basically they essentially just said, fuck it, Picard no longer has his heart issue anymore or lack of heart, right? And
But
he
like
gets to
instead of
live to the age that start people in Star Trek normally do if they live like a regular life of like over 100 years. And yeah, he gets to go on more adventures inside an old man android body.
I mean, that doesn't sound great, but
It's pretty dumb. It's done really in a really stupid way.
I mean, honestly, at least 7 of 9's there, but she's not sexy anymore, so
Okay, that's Connor's hot take for the night.
well, I mean, let's be honest, that was all
It
there was to that character that she wears a catsuit and super high heels.
okay, well, I'm not gonna comment on her or the character's worth. I will comment on the fact that that she has a connection to Obama.
The actress does?
In that she was married to a guy who lost to Obama for being governor,
Oh,
I
okay.
think.
'Cause I was like, "She's
And
married to Mitt Romney?"
him winning that against her ex-husband is led to him being president
How about that?
because that's how he made his name essentially. I mean, as far as politics go, I mean, he was already a lawyer, but yeah. But yeah, yeah, that's I'm thinking of ending things. We
So
spent
right
more
now,
time
are you
talking about
thinking of
other
ending
things.
things?
I'm thinking
Are you
that
thinking of
this
ending things?
movie was I don't think it was actually worth watching 3 times in a row.
You know, very
No.
few movies are worth watching 3 times in a row. Speed Racer, Scott Pilgrim. I could watch those. Back to the Future. Oh my god, I could just watch that all day. That's a fun movie.
I could rewatch Blade Runner 2049 3 times in a row, and that shit's like 3
You would
hours
be an
long.
old man by the time you finish watching that movie 3 times. That movie's like a million years long.
I could watch Lord of the Rings 3 times in a row.
Like all of them?
Lord of the Rings, yes.
Yeah,
I
would
do
watch
it.
all 3. Fuck it. Like
With
I would
the
obviously need
deleted
breaks.
scenes.
They'd
I
find
would-
you like dead
Yeah.
of starvation and dehydration.
No, I would need breaks, obviously, but there's so much in those movies, and especially if I'm studying them. Yeah, fuck it, let's watch it.
I'm sorry, is my cat audible on this podcast?
I can't hear. There are points where I could hear your cat, but I can't hear your cat at all.
Yeah,
now.
he's decided that he lives on my desk now, so he's
a good kitty.
Yeah, he is a very good kitty. His name's Salem.
I have a black cat. His name is Max.
Oh, I also have a black cat. His name's Berkeley. Yep, Salem's a tuxedo.
What is that just the breed name? Black?
Well, no, it's
tuxedo?
not a breed. A black cat. I think there's a type of cat that's usually a black cat. I'd have to Google it. But no, it's just like the coloring. Because like cat breeds, they're kind of bullshit. Like cats are pretty much like dogs. They're wildly different, but like cats all kind of, except for like the Sphinx cat and like the Scottish Fold, they're all kind of like the same.
Oh, he's
More
been
just
looking at
coloring.
me this whole time. Every time I'm on my laptop for so long, he'll like get all booty hurt about it.
I think I have the same experience going on because he's just staring at me, and I've got the laser pointer in my hand, and he wants me. See, like he knows where the laser point comes from, that it comes from me. So when it disappears, he comes over to me to complain.
I
think the battery's dying on the laser pointer. Anyway, so you were thinking of ending things, Augustine.
Yes, we've actually gone on for 3 hours. This is longer than our first episode.
Well, yeah, but we had a lot to say, didn't we?
About multiple topics. Many topics, actually.
Right, but we have 2 general distinct sections of the podcast. We have Paper Mario, and we have I'm Thinking of Ending Things, the new film by Charlie Kaufman.
We also have Batman comics.
Well, that was important.
We also have Hereditary.
We also talked about the Legend of Zelda cartoons.
We talked about Star Wars.
Well, I feel like any Nintendo game kind of falls under the broad umbrella of Paper Mario. Sorry, when did we talk about Star Wars? I genuinely
Knights of the Old Republic.
Knights of KOTOR too.
And yeah, well that's a video game.
Shit on Sticker Star. So let's do a summary. TLDR or whatever.
TLDL for Too Long Didn't Listen, right?
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
TLDL.
Tildle.
Jessika, do you want to TLDR this?
TLDL.
Paper Mario Super Sticker. I probably said that wrong, but
Super Sticker.
Super Sticker.
That game sucks. Thousand Year Door is the best. Hereditary is in my opinion. I'm Thinking of Ending Things should have ended it at an hour and a half. And that's my hot takes. TLDL.
Oh, I just want to end by saying shitter star and color trash. Oh, and can I do my desert metaphor? We didn't talk about Bug Fables. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, we were supposed to mention Bug Fables because you were gonna bring it up like you did Hat in Time last episode.
Yeah. Have you played Bug Fables?
No.
Oh no. Should I do my metaphor?
Do your metaphor. We said we were gonna do your metaphor. So
in this metaphor, Jessika, this is going to be gross. Are you ready for me to be gross?
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna take that tentative yes. So in this metaphor, Paper Mario games are water. Okay? I'm in the middle of the desert and I'm dying of thirst and I just need a Paper Mario game, okay? And so Nintendo comes along and they've got a jug full of urine. And they say, "Here you go, buddy. It's Sticker Star." And I'm like, "Well, I'm starving in the desert. I'll die unless I drink something. I guess Sticker Star will have to do because there's nothing else." And so I drink my big thing of Sticker Star urine. And then a second later, an indie developer comes by with a refreshing glass of water, and it says, "Hey, look what I have. It's Bug Fables." And I take the water and I chug it down. I'm like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And then Nintendo's like, hey, a couple minutes ago, you loved my jug full of urine. What's going on? Why do you suddenly want this water instead? It's like, because I only drank the urine because it was the only option here in the desert where I was dying of thirst for Paper Mario games. But then this indie dev came along with some actual water for me. And it was Bug Fables.
So oh God, let's drag on the podcast. I'll just look up Bug Fable.
It might as well be tradition at this point.
I have to say the metaphor every episode. I'm surprised you haven't played it. It's a very Paper Mario like. It's got the same
Oh, is
graphical
it?
style. It has the same combat system, and it's actually got experience points, and it even has badges. You remember the badges?
Yes.
We didn't
I
even
do.
mention those, but they were like sort of little equips that change your
Mhm.
stats and give you special abilities, but you can only have a certain number of them on.
Mhm. Depending on how many badge points you had.
Badge points. And there were stash points, weren't there? Or was that only in Mario and Luigi?
That was not in Thousand Year Door.
No, that was probably Mario and Luigi that had that.
And Bug Fables is on PC and Switch, so yeah, you get
Sweet.
It's
your
super great.
choice.
Are you looking it up?
I'm about to right now. I don't know if I want to open up Steam and then
Go
get
ahead.
sucked into looking at random shit.
Steam like slowly groans to life from under the ground over the course of like 10 minutes. It's like, ah. God. Whenever I restart my computer, Steam is like, it's Steam's time to shine and just like starts itself. I know I could just go into
Oh
preferences and turn that off.
wow.
Yeah, it's cool,
85%.
right? And the thing is
Oh
like,
no, I just opened up Steam and it's like I just see Plague Tale right now.
Plague Tale.
Yeah, I'm doing a game playthrough on my channel right now of that. Although it's been
What's
like
Plague
3
Tale
weeks.
about?
Plague Tale Innocence. It's about it's basically about you're this character, Misia, and with your brother, and you're basically trying to escape from the Inquisition, but you also have to deal with the plague. So it's during the Black Death time. So the year
How
is
relevant to our modern situation?
pretty damn relevant.
Yeah.
I discuss it. What I like to do in the episodes, because it's a historical timeline, even though it's a fictional game, but it's so far like the game, like what I've been playing, like it's pretty historic. I like how they have the historical accuracies in it. So
I
I
just
talk about
remembered though.
that.
Are you guys in the Bay Area, both of you?
No,
No,
we're
Augustine,
in
No,
the valley.
we're in the
aren't you?
Central Valley.
So you're not surrounded by fire right now?
Well, there's ash
Well, we're
everywhere for
surrounded by
me.
smoke, so
Yeah.
yeah, there's ash everywhere.
Okay. Want to make sure
Are
everything's
you
okay.
are you on fire? Are you surrounded by fire?
No, but there are yellow skies today. The fire is close enough that it's affecting the sky, but not close enough to actually hurt me.
At least you can see the sky. Can't see the sky.
Yeah, it's been pretty yellow over here too.
Ugh. Overwhelmingly positive. Well, that's good to hear.
I'm just overwhelmed by how positive it was.
That's what it's saying. The
Yeah.
review for Bug Fables.
Yeah,
Overwhelmingly
I myself
positive.
was overwhelmed with positivity when I played it. Oh, is somebody a good kitty? Somebody here is a good kitty.
Alrighty.
But Bug Fables highly recommended. Sticker Star, Color Splash,
Then,
not highly recommended. Origami King recommended. Not highly, but recommended.
mm,
All
I
right.
was very
So,
impressed by the animation and I'm thinking of ending things.
oh yeah, the mixed media stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was pretty impressive. I like the
it looked
pig.
very good. Yeah, the pig was great and like the old timey commercial for Not Dairy Queen.
They were actually they wanted to have a real pig, but then they realized that one, it'd be really hard to get a pig to do what it was doing in the movie. Uh,
mhm,
just general training, but also because pig necks don't work like that. They can't
mm.
turn around and look at you.
Oh no.
At least
Hmm.
not the way that they wanted it to. So they're like, fuck it,
Right.
cartoon pig.
I still think it was them trying to do everything with nothing.
You mean just to prove that they're super smart?
Yeah, like I said, throwing in ballet, throwing in singing, throwing in musical references,
I
movie
feel like he didn't
references,
have the
science
balls to do
references.
a real musical. Like, he wanted to do a musical, but he had to be like, haha, guys, I'm just kidding. It's actually an existential terror piece. I don't really like musicals. They're gay. It's like, no, just do a musical, bro. It's okay.
You know what? I would watch a Charlie Kaufman musical. You know what? He actually did do a musical with 50 songs, but nobody will produce it.
How long are the songs?
I don't know, but it's 50 songs in his musical that he wants to
That's
produce,
too
but
many songs.
nobody will produce it.
Maybe cut down the songs a little bit, Charlie.
He's
Well, what
probably
if they're
like,
reprises though?
They
Or is
cannot
that still too
possibly all
long?
be good songs.
maybe they're all bad.
Name one person in human history who's written 50 good songs.
Well, Hamilton I just looked it up right now. Hamilton has 46 songs, but remember some of them are reprises and like
And some of
blending
them
of
aren't
all the
very
other
good.
songs. I didn't say let's not hate on Hamilton. Okay? That's not where I was going. I'm
Oh
just
no, are you
kidding.
Hamill trash? Is Jessica Hamill trash, Augustine?
I actually don't
No,
know.
I've
My
only
god, she
seen it.
totally is.
No, I
She's
like
Hamill
the
trash.
songs. I just like the songs.
I mean, I like some of the songs, but some of them are just kind of irritating, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying all of them are good, but I do like some of them. I
I
just
remember,
recently watched it, like when it came out on Disney Plus. So like I just like watching musicals. I don't get to do that very often.
I
But I've never
really want to
seen
see.
a
Oh,
Broadway. I've never been to like no sort of Broadway at all. So it was just
I
kind of
wanted
nice
to.
to have it on the screen. So
Yeah, I love the filmed presentations. I would murder to see the Beetlejuice musical that they just made because I love Beetlejuice, and I'm just like, what could that musical possibly be like?
yeah, I was
I'm
going to
sure it would be
say,
fun.
They give
I,
a whole number. Do you remember the beauty queen that slit her wrists like near the beginning of the movie?
Mhm.
No, she's a very minor character, but they give her her own song.
Aw, ow, dude, quit
Oh
biting me.
no! Is your cat getting a little bit frisky?
Yeah, he just wants to like I said, he wants to play right now.
My guy wanted to play too, so I'm just pointing the laser kind of in a general direction. He's kind of over it now, though. All right, so we were thinking of ending things,
and then we went on for quite a bit longer.
just
But
like the
yeah,
movie, just like the movie did.
should I cut this into 2 parts because it's so fucking
I
long?
think that
That's up to you or whoever's in charge of
people need
the
to sit through the hours of the podcast for the reward of the good discussion, just like in
Oh my
Hereditary.
god.
No, they have to sit there waiting for Bug Fables.
Is there like a tag that we can add because
No,
like
we'll
I said, watch
tag
your
it
last
all.
podcast and you were like, yes, we could add this tag because we referenced it one time.
What was it
No,
that we
see, with
even referenced?
Fall Guys, we really did just reference it the one
Oh,
time.
hey,
Bug
now we can put the
Fables.
Fall Guys tag on here again.
We can. It's
We'll just
gonna
have a
be our
whole
running.
audience of very frustrated
Even
Fall Guys fans who are
even
like,
even if we're still doing this 5 years from now and Fall Guys no longer exists, like it doesn't nobody cares about it, we'll find a way to put Fall Guys in the text. It's gonna happen.
I mean, summer guys, I could take or leave. Winter guys, too cold. Spring guys, don't even get me started. But fall guys, I like them.
They're 6 feet tall and they're jelly beans.
Hey, I've got another disturbing height fact. The Teletubbies are 10 feet tall.
I'm fine with that.
That's
I
disturbing.
mean, in actual real life, if you were to go onto the set of Teletubbies, they'd be 10 feet tall.
They
I'm
can't be that
cool.
terrifying if people were willing to film with them.
Oh, yeah. One sec.
I wonder how big
Before
the TVs are then? Is it like
They're
an
just the
HD
size of
TV
like
set?
regular TVs.
Oh.
But the here we go. Here's the picture. This is for you. The rabbits are super giant though, because they need them to be big to give you a sense of scale. They're a special breed of rabbit. There we go. See, there's a regular sized man standing next to a Teletubby.
Again, disturbing.
Can we just remake Avatar, the James Cameron version, but with Teletubbies?
I mean, we could, but you got so excited about whether we could, you didn't stop to think about
We
whether you should. But there we
Well,
go.
I say we should. I've given it enough thought. Gave it 10
And-
seconds of thought. It's fine.
And they all have to carry red purses.
Well, only Tinky Winky has a red purse. But there we go. This picture, these are the giant rabbits.
Oh my god, that's so disturbing.
They have them on set to give you a sense of scale that the Teletubbies are smaller than they are by having these like really big rabbits on screen with them.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd they make them so big though?
Because they had to have a working television inside of them. And this is
Wait,
before
they
flat
had a
screens were a
working
thing.
television in them?
I'm assuming. I don't know.
No, I don't. There's no way that's true. They
Well, why
were
else
just
would they be so big?
no. Though, yeah, I have no idea why they're that big, but
Also, theory that I heard once that makes perfect sense. The Teletubbies are actually in prison. Because they never leave the little area they're in, and whenever they're not immediately visible, a loudspeaker suddenly goes, "Where have all the Teletubbies gone?" until they all come out and present themselves.
oh, you're saying it's like an alien zoo or or
It's an
prison or
alien
something?
prison. I don't know what they did, but they're all in prison there. They can't leave.
Well, that's disturbing.
I mean, the Big Bird costume has a working television inside of it, so like it's not unheard of.
No, I'm just imagining that the Teletubbies show was just a mass hallucination, or like a hallucination Jake had in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Sticker
Oh,
Star
goodness.
Sticker Star is also a hallucination. Never happened.
It never happened.
It was a what if Paper Mario were shit.
Yeah, just the one guy in every development meeting at Nintendo was like, "But what if it were just really shitty?"
What if Paper Mario, but we're on cocaine?
Oh god,
Well,
Kensuke
now you're just giving cocaine
Can
too
we
much credit.
Yeah, I
can we
suppose
link
so.
that Wired article like in the notes about how he says that, "Oh, I was drinking too much and I was
Oh
slacking
no, I
off and didn't
will.
go to
Don't
work."
worry. I'll put it in the link. I'll put it in the description.
It's like knowing that that man is in charge of Paper Mario just explains so much.
What should we name the episode?
Oh, didn't we already have a name? It was I'm thinking of ending Paper Mario.
Yeah, I'm thinking of ending Paper Mario.
And like for the thumbnail, put like Mario's face over I don't know one of the characters from the movie.
No, I was thinking just the poster for I'm thinking of ending things, but Paper Mario and then Paper Mario on the head of the young woman with a
So
shocked
like
look.
a nubile young woman's body, but the head of a middle-aged Italian man.
A 24-year-old Italian man.
Oh yes, of course, 24-year-old
He's
Italian.
24.
He's only 24. Did you know that, Jessica? According to Nintendo, Mario's only 24 years old.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the main picture for I'm thinking of ending things is like the girl with the glass. Like I'm thinking
Yeah,
it's lying.
it's just kind of
Yeah.
staring, right?
And maybe like have Mario behind her with the hammer, like about to smack her upside the head. There you go. There's your thumbnail.
No, I'll have Paper Mario about to smash her, but I'm gonna switch the heads. So it's her
I'm sorry,
head
about to
about to
smash
crush
her?
Paper Mario. Wait, with the hammer.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right, so we're thinking of ending things.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll record another episode later. Yeah, does anybody want to plug anything?
Is Jessica going to be a regular member of the show?
I don't know that if you want
I
to,
am
yeah.
all for it. It's your guys' podcast, obviously, but I'm all for it. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm on board. I feel like 3 people can carry a conversation better than just 2.
Yeah, and Jessika has the point of view of not being as familiar with what we're talking about.
Which might
And I'm
be like the
female.
It's true, honestly. You bring a unique perspective.
I think next time though it should be a bit more organized in case somebody does genuinely want to. I don't know. I think it depends on. Actually, I don't mind all the randomness, but I think it might depend on the subject. Rather to stay on top.
I mean,
'Cause
can we
I'm
just get a
thinking
broad
of-
topic like video games? Like, can we just be
Every
broad?
podcast's topic is just video games?
Well, no, like one episode we'll do movies and one we'll do video. Just keep it broad. That way we can't possibly go off topic.
We should also talk about current events. I think that's a good way of keeping it on topic because
Like
then we just
current
move
political events
from
or like current games that
no
came out?
current to like movies, video games, books, whatever,
Okay.
or even real
Okay.
world events. I really don't care. It's fine.
All right.
A lot of events happening recently, huh?
Many events. That'll be the whole podcast. Just hey, you heard about that event?
Oh, you
Yeah,
know
I
what the
heard about that
saddest
event.
thing I ever saw was?
An
One
event
last sad thing to share with you.
to end the podcast on.
It was
To end it.
yeah, because I have been thinking of ending things.
We want our audience to end this show in tears.
Maybe that's the point of this episode. You're waiting for it to end because you're thinking about it. You know,
It's just a
thinking
bunch of
ending.
random shit that doesn't really cohere into a meaningful discussion. Yeah, that's just like the fucking movie we were talking about.
Yeah. Oh,
And
so
that star sticker is trash.
Yeah,
star sticker.
That's the.
He's
other
the man who
takeaway.
sticks stars. God.
We're crying because sticker stars.
Every time you mention the game, you manage to get some different variation of the title. It's only 2 words. It's honestly kind of impressive.
I
guess that's how bad or irrelevant the game is.
that
Yeah,
there's
it
no
was
reason to remember
terrible.
the title properly. Yeah.
Okay, so this comic strip is meant to be jokes that are too specific to be relevant for more than a short time, and it was made in 2015. And the sad thing is, most of it is still relevant.
New Star Wars movie.
Yep, I'd say that's mostly still relevant.
Yeah, except for the 8th birthday of Danny Freyland of Mount Juliet, Tennessee. But it's like Bear Tato, because he's a bear and a potato. Did you hear about Donald Trump? No, I was too busy. New Star Wars movie. Like, that's been society in America for the past 5 years.
No, that's been America since like 1999 or 98, whenever the.
Well, yeah, because
prequels
Donald
started.
Trump. Like, I'm trying to think. Donald Trump kind of rose to infamy in like 85, 86. So like the old Star Wars movies were already out at that point. So yeah, it wasn't until like 99. But then he kind of vanished for a while until he came back with that terrible Apprentice show, and that came out the year before Revenge of the Sith. So I think Revenge of the Sith coming out and Donald Trump being a thing, that is the date from which we can start this comic being relevant to today.
No, right now we're living in the 15 to 20 years in between episode 3 and episode 4.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
I mean, I don't want any more Star Wars movies.
I mean, I don't want Disney to make any more Star Wars movies.
I also want them to stop remaking their animation into live action because most of it's garbage.
Honestly,
like that Mulan movie.
They don't really value animation.
I haven't seen it yet.
Are you willing to pay $30 to watch?
No, I'm not willing to pay.
It's got a female
$30.
protagonist. I thought that was your jam.
Do you know what the?
But like, I just.
But she wants quality though. Everyone wants quality. Like, come
quality.
on.
Okay,
Don't
but it's
want
like
some trash.
By remaking their animated movies to live action, they're basically like saying live action is the ultimate expression of this story. Like animation is lesser, and it's like it's not. Animated is better.
Which is sad because animation is what made them what they are, which is kind of stupid. Why are we going backward?
And they don't even make the traditional animated movies anymore. Not since Winnie the Pooh, the last one.
And they're also like, you know what? Fuck it. Everything is Star Wars because in the new Mulan gets her power from chi. And it's treated like the Force in Star Wars.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the Force was kind of like a very Western take on.
Spoilers. It's from the very beginning when she's a little girl. They're like, "Oh no, she has so much chi," it's so weird. How do women have so much chi? That's a man thing. It's like, what the fuck?
The thing is,
Oh, that's so
the
ruined.
Force itself
I
was
thought
kind of like a bizarre Western interpretation of chi.
yeah, it's true. But then it's come full circle, and now it's chi is a weird interpretation of the Force.
But
But what
like,
I'm really saying is, okay, so you know the original animated film, that was the
Mhm.
whole idea was Mulan had to
The Wolf
train
Woman.
really hard
Yeah.
to be able to pass as a man in the military because she didn't want to get caught and she wanted to protect her father, right? And so the theme of the movie was really like, hey, you can achieve things through hard work and determination. And the new live action one is just like, nah, you got to have magical powers and then you'll be special.
they made a live action Mulan in the 60s, China did. And in that one,
Mhm.
her father is a famous general who's hoping that Mulan will beat her kill count or beat his kill count. Like that's his hope
Hmm.
for his daughter. I hope you kill more people than me.
I mean, that sounds about right for a general.
Yeah, it's such a departure from Disney's version.
I wonder if it's because I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but I wonder if it's because they just wanted to still have her look female the whole time,
Oh yeah, because
I
she never cuts her
guess.
hair either.
Yeah, because like if you see the fight scenes with her long ass hair, and I'm like, the fuck? That don't make no sense.
Yup.
I guess we'll
And
never know unless we spend $30 and
I
also get a
don't want to
subscription to
spend
Disney Plus.
$30. I already have a Disney Plus subscription. I want to pay. I don't want to pay the Disney gods more.
I
you
want
don't want to
Honey I
pay the
Shrunk the
Disney.
Kids the TV show. Like how
You don't.
sad.
Let's not pay the Disney tax for either Honey I Shrunk the Kids TV show or for Mulan. Just watch the cartoon again for Mulan. Fuck it. No Mushu either. You know what Mushu gets replaced with?
What?
A fucking phoenix. Because funny dragons are too far. It's
Is the
going too
Phoenix
far.
a Chinese thing?
Well, I mean, it's a thing in a lot of cultures, but definitely in Chinese mythology with the whole resurrection thing. But just think, what's the issue with having why couldn't it be a dragon? Why did they change it to a phoenix? I mean, people like Mushu.
Oh, because they wanted to have a new toy to sell.
Well, why not just have the phoenix and Mushu in there?
I
You can
don't
sell a
know.
new version of Mushu, and you can sell your stupid phoenix.
Well,
Maybe
they were
Mushu.
I think because like one of the biggest things when people found out it wasn't going to be a musical was like their reason why is because they were trying to make a more serious movie on it. But then why are you gonna take out, General Shang to be a fucking white guy, of course? Because then people were arguing, well, why don't you want to have a bisexual character? Because technically he is considered,
Oh, you mean because he
bisexual.
started feeling some attraction when he thought that Mulan was a
When
man?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I
they
don't
There's
basically
think
got
that.
rid of that character, and she has a love interest who's, like, closer to her rank, because I guess they didn't wanna
Mhm.
have somebody in power over in a higher than her in power, you know, because he
Yeah.
was her commander, but see, I didn't really think it was that troubling in the cartoon, just because nothing
No.
romantic happens until after the war's over, right? And he
Mhm.
comes to, like, "Hey, like, maybe we should have something?" At
He was
that
like,
point,
Mhm.
"You
she's
fight
not.
good."
Yeah, at that point, she's not even, like, involved with the military at all, right? And it's,
Mhm.
like, months later. I don't know, I just never felt like it was wrong in the cartoon.
No, the movie is really good. Like, you wanna do fucking Lion King, which I have my own fucking opinions on. You wanna
It
do
was
fucking
still an
Lion
animated movie.
King shot for shot
Like,
with
there's no real animals, it's not a live action movie, you know?
oh my god. The whole reason Lion King is good too is because of the facial expressions within them, the human facial expressions. And when you make the lions look that fucking realistic, even if the voices are acting good, it's just not matching with the faces. And then don't even get me started with how unfunny it was. And just, oh my god, I have so many issues with the Lion King live
We could do a
action.
whole podcast on live action Disney remakes.
Maybe that could be our next episode. I've only seen Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast.
Well,
honestly
I'd say we don't do it on all of them. We should just pick a few.
No, we need to do it on all of them because we have to go broad for our topic.
Well, I'm pretty sure that we'll eventually talk about ones that aren't the main topics, though. But yeah, that would be a good topic for an episode.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry, Max.
I'm sorry to all the kids who had to fucking watch live action Mulan first before animated Mulan.
But I mean, their parents already pay for Disney Plus. They could just watch regular Mulan right now.
But I still see a world where they see live action Mulan before animated Mulan.
I mean, I had parents that
Mhm.
hated animation and loved live action. Like, for example, I rented Dragon Ball Evolution and Triplets of Belleville. And they sat through Dragon Ball Evolution. We're like, yeah, it's fine. I started Triplets of Belleville, and they were like, I don't really like this. It's like
That's the saddest story in this whole podcast.
parents just don't like animation or video games. Maybe other people's parents are different, but I assume they're all like mine.
Triplets deserved better. Oh, also, I just reminded me of that Netflix movie, Cuties. It just came out.
Oh yeah, what is that, a pedophile movie? What is that?
No, it's not, because I saw 40 minutes of it.
So
And
you
it
saw
is
40 minutes just to determine whether or not it
no,
was?
because I already knew it wasn't, because I'd already read ahead of time, and I found out that Netflix is trying to sell it as something it's not. For
I
some
know
weird,
people.
disgusting reason.
It was really and the director is, like, getting, like, death threats and all this stuff, so, like and now her fucking career is probably just fucking ruined
Yeah,
because of
Netflix
the
needs to do
shitty advertisement that they did.
Who
Netflix
are
needs to
these
do
people
some
that
fucking
send death
restitution.
threats?
I don't even
Insane
know.
people.
People who have fucking
Do you
time.
think we're gonna get death threats over this podcast?
I love Sticker Star. How
I mean,
dare
we
you?
unleashed some nuclear takes, like that Sticker Star's bad.
No,
Also,
look,
here's my
if we
hottest take.
actually get like a sufficient number of people to listen to either episode that we've done so far, we will get death threats.
Well, here's my hottest take of all, okay? Super Mario World is not good.
That's the nuke right there.
Yeah, I would drop the mic, except it's on a little stand in front of
Yeah,
me.
and your last hot take that was that big was when you said Hat in Time wasn't good.
Yeah,
When you
well,
compared it to Urine.
I know. I do that a lot, Jessica. I'm sorry.
It's
It's
become
fine.
a once per episode thing. You have to compare something that people generally think is okay or good.
Mhm.
You compare it to Urine and
We
say
call
that
it
something
Connor's
else is
Piss
pretty
Corner.
more.
That's a
How about your Piss Oasis?
Piss Oasis.
there you
Well,
go.
come on down to my Piss Oasis. It's like a used car commercial.
You have to do it like you're a southern used car
It's
salesman.
like, well, I'm a simple man, but if I was in the desert and Paper Mario was equivalent to water, then that's how it would go.
What is it called? Sticker Star?
Sticker Star. You got it right that time. You were right.
You just still don't remember? I'm just gonna go with Sticker Star's garbage and your used car salesman. They get to go live in the Piss Oasis. There you go.
Okay.
There you
Dare
go.
you to enter my magical realm?
No, thank you. All right, I think that this is a good spot to end at.
Are you thinking of ending things?
I've been thinking of ending things.
See, we're recreating the experience of watching the movie, but I think we're providing a little bit more entertainment.
We're longer than the fucking movie.
Remember what I was saying about cognitive dissonance? If you read a 1,000-page book, you convince yourself you liked it. That one guy that made it all the way through the podcast is like, I like this.
We've got a fan for life.
Oh, good.
We just need to record 6 billion more of these, and we'll have everyone on Earth as our fan for life.
Okay, that's all, folks.